welcome to episode 389 of the Spitballing Pod. I'm Luke Byron, joined as always by Tom Kennett, and also joined this week by Conor Palmer. This is our World Cup 2026 preview pod, and I think this one will be a bit different. You could probably listen to a million other podcasts that can tell you the pressing system that France use, whether Argentina only use a 4 or 5 at the back, how Spain have evolved in possession since the last World Cup. Ideally, you don't listen to those, at least not until later. But what we're going to give you is a little taste of 24 teams that have no chance of winning the competition. A flavour of what those countries are all about, which players might be worth putting in your fantasy sides, and just something to look out for that may give you enough of a nudge to get up at 3 a.m. to watch Uzbekistan versus Colombia in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll be taking 8 teams each, spending a bit of time on each side, and hopefully this gets you excited for the first game later this week. But before all of that, TK, Conor, how are we doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, some positive news in a dark time, so yeah, getting there.
There we go. I would say a small thing to address. I've just realised you meant West Ham. I thought there was like something really serious. That I just
and the fact that we skirted around it pretty quickly.
You can tell by the look on Luke's face.
Got some pretty serious stuff going on, but we'll just move on from that.
I'm just worried I'm not going to get an invite next season.
If anything, maybe it makes you more objective, or maybe it makes you more of a hater. It could go either way.
Maybe both.
Did bring up on the pod that maybe didn't think through properly, especially after the Champions League last week, me ringing you shortly after the game against you. A lot kind of was put into perspective as I told that story.
There's shortly after, and there's probably, and I mean, it could be because my stream was that far behind. I mean, what stream? But it was about 15 seconds after the final whistle.
So I'm pretty sure he'd be pretty adamant that I wouldn't do that. Yeah. I wouldn't do that, and he did it.
It definitely wasn't that quick because I'd rang my mum to ask if she'd watched it, and she wasn't as excited as I was.
You don't know how bad my internet is.
I can believe it.
But no, I did, I think, as much as you can with one hand holding the phone, put both hands up to say, like, and I come in peace.
The only thing I will disagree on is when talking about it on that episode of the pod, you went, I spoke to Conor after the game, and he said it was a pen, and then moved on. Nothing else about what I said. Very selective.
Interesting.
Very selective. Hey, we won't dwell. Yeah. We won't dwell.
I said,
I've cried enough.
Did you think it was a foul? He went, yeah.
I then said, I don't think the right decision had come to, and I think you slightly agreed with me as well.
No, definitely not.
Different on the pod than you are in person, I see.
Well, that's probably true. But a small thing to address before we get into the football. We referenced our FPL forfeit a few times over the last few weeks. Brad was the loser. You've seen him on here a few times this season. Some details of this do have to be left out. TK, looking at me, you'll probably see where around that is. The punishment was to spend 10 hours in a McDonald's, and the only way to reduce that was to eat certain items. You've probably seen this happen before online. Yeah. Did have a text in the week saying you'd probably do that for fun.
Yeah, I would say that's what the winner gets.
That's yeah, probably true.
Who pays for the food? The loser?
You have to pay for it yourself, okay, which was a part of this that I hadn't really taken into consideration. But the only way to reduce that time was to eat certain items. 2 hash browns counted as 30 minutes. And so Brad believed that he would rock up 7 a.m, smash 40 hash browns, and go home before he was in trouble for being out all day. Which...
The 40 is a lot.
And carry on about his day, but he's looking after kids and stuff like that. He thinks he's just going to go and carry on his day.
No, you're having a snooze.
You're in a bad way,
100%.
So if I've edited this correctly, you'll see a small video of him putting his order in around there, I would say, if I've done this right. And then, as I say, won't go into every single detail, but he hit a breaking point.
It's worth saying, by the way, not only did he decide that, he bought 40 off the bat. He didn't go, I'm going to go in and buy 10, see how I get on.
Do you know the worst?
Or then go, because somebody's going to get cold or something like that, he's just gone and bought 40 straight
I
up.
love McDonald's hash browns as well, and in hindsight, I choose them over tots. But the worst thing about them is as soon as they slightly cool and stick to that paper, because you'd have to eat the bits off the paper for it to count.
So yeah, I think the first video you may see is him putting the order in. Because he sent us a video and I thought he's going to cancel it before his card taps. And if you think the video's a weird shape, I've cropped his card out because I think we've got a good audience. I don't know how good.
But that could be a better punishment for losing fantasy football.
Well, we're going to get there in just a second. So he hit a breaking point at 17 after around, I think it was just over 2.5 hours. He then basically just said, I don't care what the forfeit was, I'm not staying. None of you can make me stay. What are any of you going to do about it? Which, short of a contractual agreement, a handshake emoji is about as close as you can get to that.
That is written confirmation.
So there was some discussions in between looking for redemption myself for the 24 challenge a couple of months back. I attempted to take over and claim some redemption, basically. So you'll see just there a video of me doing 10 in just under 16 minutes. Impressive. Okay. Hold that thought. Ultimately, I went no further than 12. But a couple of things to put in. Wasn't my challenge, really. And I can't really tell this story without sounding horrible, so I'll go by it very quickly. There was a lady in the McDonald's I was in, close to here, busy one, middle of town, who had some difficulties.
Sure.
And she came out to announce to the McDonald's, someone better go and clean that toilet because it's hell in there. With the door left open. So things spread quickly. So 10 down, stepped outside, tried to negotiate with the group. First of all, I was saying, can I pivot to the original challenge and can I introduce some pancakes, which are actually more calories than the hash browns? Was told no, which I still think was particularly harsh. Then said, it's bad in there. Can I take the hash browns home? I live 10 minutes away and you can still see me having the hash browns, which then when I was told the time didn't come into it, I think I should have been allowed to take the hash browns home with me. And that would have been fair. But no, ultimately, we didn't come to agreement. And then I kind of realised this actually wasn't my punishment either.
Why am I asking to do these things?
And so there would have been a reward if I could have reached the top of the tree.
The reward is just more hash browns.
But yeah, I said yesterday, it's ruined the hash browns for me. I said that after the cheeseburger McDonald's one and I had one 4 days later, so it hasn't ruined the hash browns for me. Because when they were, as you say, when they were perfectly hot, it was fine. I was going through with such speed at first, I said, I'm not going to I'll have a drink every 3 hash browns. And then after 6, it was like, I'm having a little drink at 7 and then 8. And I tried to refresh the palate with a Fanta Zero. And I then kind of found I was just sat there drinking the Fanta. The McDonald's was getting busier. I'm sat there filming myself.
Yeah.
When I ordered, because I just ordered 10 at once the first time, and the lady smirked. First of all, I heard her say, does the cooking time change if I'm doing 10 at once? Which, that shows how abnormal this is. And then she said, and this is to eat in, not take away. And I said, yeah.
What would they have said when he ordered 40?
Yeah, this isn't on the same day.
Or different McDonald's.
Different McDonald's.
Same
Okay.
day, same
I was going to
board.
say, someone just ordered 10. That's so weird. You never guess what happened earlier.
Yeah.
Is there a stipulation in this? Can you only eat one at a time?
No, there was no real rules, basically.
And you tapped out at 10?
Well, I tapped out at 12. It was... So... I mean, I can keep making excuses.
I feel like there's conditions coming here.
So I would say...
The fact that TK can't stop laughing as well.
I would say...
Honestly, it's rarely had as funny a Sunday morning as this. Just waking up to about 200 messages of Brad being in a McDonald's and basically struggling and then being called a disgrace. Only for him to try to sub himself on and then do the same thing.
Initially, I got up at 5:10 to go and sit with him. That
even
didn't feel good in the morning, so I walked back after
Got
getting
on the bus. Got on the bus.
And then it was. I agree with you, and not that I want much credit, but I felt such an anticlimax, and I wanted things to keep going. And the only real way to keep this going is for me to get myself involved and to go and do this. So
You did for the good of the group. That was.
So I think if a couple of things could change, he had 2 phones, so I have the video. I haven't been able to time lapse it yet, and with the amount of time, I might not be able to do that. So maybe I'll put a small clip in. So he had the 2 phones. He was able to go on his phone on the one, music on, whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
I was at 1 with. I had headphones in, just some noise cancelling, but I was just at 1 with the McDonald's, which, hence how I heard you better get in there.
I'm surprised that bloke didn't walk back from the other day and go, "You look miserable." Are you,
So I felt pretty dejected when I walked out, and it was a thing where I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it got to 4:30, and I was laid there and thought, I've done nothing with.
What have I done?
I didn't even have the TV on, but it was a weird thing where I was drifting off, and I was like, I don't want to waste my Sunday, so I was like shaking myself back awake, and then just lying there again and just browsing the chat and whatever was going on. And then, as I say, I watched Social Network and Basic Instinct after that, so it didn't end too badly. But I think next season we're going to have some kind of legally binding contract, a harsher penalty of like, if you don't want to do this, basically. And I think it's been brought in for the draft game that an order can be chosen. So I'm thinking maybe we'll have a committee meeting, picks deducted, we place his pick where he's going to be next season. Something's going to be done. We can't allow someone, or there's going to be no suspense getting to the end of this season.
There's got to be a deterrent.
The only credit I would give is that at this point he hadn't sent any videos. He probably, Forsey, I don't think we'd have believed in that short of a time frame that he was going by. He probably could have snuck a couple more away and told us that he'd have them.
Yeah,
No
That's the only credit I can give. The only other update I will give today is, having seen the guidelines for the fish finger record that I was going to look to do today, actually, and before yesterday happened, I can kind of do it and will know that I'm a world record holder. But to be official, it has to be in a place that can be inspected by the public, which doesn't just mean an inspector can turn up at your house if they really want to. It has to be in a public place.
Okay.
And there's a number, so it needs to be 2 neutral timekeepers involved. There's like, it's like, just let me eat fish fingers in my house with someone have a stopwatch, and we'll play the video as well.
Imagine trying to get 2 strangers to. I need you to witness something.
Yeah, excuse me. Can you just come with me, please?
So yeah, there's a lot going on there, but we still may see it. It may still be the week before the big Prem preview. We have a whole host of people, perhaps you involved, and we'll pick out some records for them to try and do to make up an episode. And then, well, no, just out of interest, how many hash browns for you?
In what space of time?
I guess this is it. It's kind of until you hit a breaking point, really. I will say for all of these things, not having anything to break up that taste is kind of the key issue.
Are you allowed sauce?
Yes, that's what I should have done, but being on my own, I didn't want to leave the hash browns to go in. It wouldn't have made it. Once I'd hit 12.
I'm not being funny. If someone's walking past the table and going, "It's fucking 10 hash browns there," I wouldn't worry about them being taken.
Once I'd hit the 12, there was no going further. It just needed, I think, something else could have extended before I got to that point.
If I'm preparing, if I'm not eating breakfast beforehand, I'd like to say, well, I beat you, I think. I'd like to try and get to 20. I think that's probably...
Listen, I thought that definitely sounded doable, but then seeing these gentlemen struggle.
9, so I don't know if you
Let me show you something.
I don't know if you ever had it where you've ended up with like an extra portion of McDonald's chips or anything. They're like combos they do on delivery or whatever. You can end up with... And you have like an extra portion of chips and you notice...
Yeah.
And so the potato is just...
It's
just brutal. If I'd lost, I would have been changing... changing things around.
His strategy was, just...
I can put away a lot of potato.
Well, the initial way the hash browns came up was Goff said it as a joke in the chat of like, I'll just do 40 hash browns, and then for Brad, I thought he was joking each time he said it.
I mean, I would like to see the list of what items takes off how long, and I could probably let you know how long I'll be there.
Over 500 calories was an hour. Under 500 calories was half an hour.
See, you'd have to scan the menu and find out what is just over 500, wouldn't you?
And I was looking for small. I was seeing how much porridge do you think I could do once I was trying to negotiate, and then
I'd rather sit there for 12 hours.
If I, because I was flirting with the bottom spot, and I would have ended up just sitting out, I think, and I would have stayed. I would have stayed there because I ultimately don't have responsibilities, and it wouldn't have occurred to me to go. Do you know what? I don't need to be. Well, I go, oh shit, yeah, I don't
You're
need
an
to
honourable man.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
There you go.
Well, I tried to say, can I just stay for the rest of the time, and I was told that mine was.
No,
it was
so
like
closing,
now a
can you
new
leave?
challenge had.
Yeah, because basically it was. The thing was, now you've got to go in and get 23 hash browns, don't you? Like the challenge is gone. That is your challenge.
Can I say,
There's nothing else.
I know the
gone.
writing of what I ticked onto at the time, and ultimately I didn't hit that point anyway. At the time, I thought I was doing 17, which completed what he said he had left to do to get out of the challenge.
Oh, because he'd been there X amount of time. Yeah, okay.
So I thought I was finishing it off. Now, even at the time, it was like, okay, 6 of them. 6 of them is a lot.
Just for clarification, on my actual McDonald's breakfast order, there are 5.
Yeah, well, the last time I went, I had 4. So
like, if you throw in that with like a double sausage and egg,
and I had that.
Well, one's got to go in.
You're taking off some time, innit?
Well, I added it to make it a triple sausage and egg with 4 hash brown. And that was for pleasure.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Challenge, which is why now the image I've created is that. I mean, it's not the worst bad reputation to have. You can't eat.
This guy can't eat.
Which is like, where's it coming from? Where's the rest of it coming from? But yeah, it's like when I need to be horizontal, basically, with pizza, where I've just about tapped out, but I can just my head's just enough where I'm not choking on it. But we'll move on from that. Because, yeah. Okay. So I guess our feelings around this tournament will come out as things go on, I think. Doesn't look like America is particularly well set for both the players on the pitch and the fans travelling over to see it, which isn't great to think about, but the same things were said about the last tournament, and we ended up with the argument that maybe we'd just seen the greatest World Cup final of all time. So once you're in it and there's football on every day, maybe the times are going to make it different this time, I don't know. But we'll still sit and enjoy it. I just wanted to ask both of you, where are you at going into this World Cup? Because it does feel a bit weird.
Up until Saturday night or Sunday morning, I can't remember now, I was very much checked out. You know, as a West Ham fan, you don't have a lot of West Ham players playing for England. None there this time, so I'm like, okay, I'm overly fast. Finally.
Who'd have thought we'd be here? Not me.
You don't have Danny Dyer fighting your case.
But ultimately, I was like, okay, I'll watch the games. I'm not going to watch the warm-up friendlies. Thank God I didn't, by the sounds of it. And then, Saturday night or Sunday morning, scrolling through TikTok, and you get those compilations, and it just started with some wholesome song and just seeing the ball fly onto Luke Shaw's foot, and I went, oh fuck, I'm going to take it too far again this year, aren't I? I am. As soon as it starts, that's it. You just change. So.
Yeah, I had no real hype for it, and then all it took was a group chat talking about going to Spectre and tipping a table over, and I was like, I'm back on.
Here we go.
I do think it is bizarre that it's become like weirdly like the most politicised World Cup when we've just had one in Qatar. It's a bit of an odd. But I think way more than that, I think that stuff will go out the window. But I do think the times is going to be the crucial thing. Is that most people are going to miss most of the games, because I might get up and see a rogue on here. You may do the same. Most people are not going to see it, right? So there are going to be lots missed, whereby once upon a time you could have done 3 or 4 games in a day, where that's going to be less feasible.
My plan currently is to adjust my entire sleep schedule to make it work. I
commitment,
have
that.
next week off work, so I won't miss a game.
That's a good start.
Next week, and we'll go from there. And I think once you get to the latter rounds, I think you can deal up. Maybe it's the wrong way round, and I'm the freak in this situation. I don't need anyone to answer that. I feel like, say there's a big game you want to watch. If you can't function at work on like 5 hours sleep,
You are really atting one man here. You are
No,
atting, you're atting Sean Shue.
No,
We've gone back and forth
no,
on this.
I'm atting.
We all watch American sports where we've made the effort of getting up, and that man has not.
I'm atting.
I agree.
Honestly,
you can get by on one game
the
day, can't you?
general population that are saying about it being too late, and I'm thinking for the England ones, for the
England
group
ones
stage,
is not, no.
you're ending 11 p.m.
Yeah.
11 p.m. midnight.
No.
If you want to watch it that much, you can do it. And the latter stages are pretty similar.
No, it's more these early games, aren't they? It's
Yeah.
and because it's night after night.
So these ones-
Whereas you might go, going on 2 hours sleep at work today. Then
You're
the
not then
following,
gonna do it
following day
again.
is then
Yeah.
2 hours again. You're going to be, at some point, you're in hell.
These games, I don't blame people too much, but it's like if Brazil, Spain is kicking off at midnight.
Yeah.
That's-
I'm
you
locking
can-
in. I'm locking in.
I need to
He's
get it
not.
out there
That
now.
tells me he's not.
I am in bed by about 9:30.
Pathetic.
So
Absolutely pathetic.
I will wake up earlier. I will try my best.
He's not catching this World Cup. He's not catching it.
He's not in control of his own remote control, is what I think.
No comment. I'd like to survive to see England get to the final, thanks, and win it.
So I'm looking forward to it. May be that I have all the intentions now of getting up at 3 a.m. to watch Sweden Tunisia,
And
but
if
when
you
it
don't-
comes round to it, it's easier to stay in bed. But I don't know. At least at this point, I think
It's definitely going through my mind as well. I'm not off work. It's the contrast of the
Yeah.
first week, so that maybe might. But if somebody else does, I might.
But like
that might provoke me.
I'll be watching the Thursday night game, 2 a.m. kickoff on Thursday night, Friday morning.
Yeah.
I'll be watching that. Actually, 3 a.m. kickoff. I'll be watching that. Game will finish about 10 p.m. Sleep. 4 or 5 hours in the chamber already. Finishes at 5. You can get an extra hour or two if you want, or you can just stay up.
Yeah. It's sort of.
No, and the games that kick off at 5 a.m. That's as easy as it gets. Just get up like an hour earlier.
That's fine.
Fair.
Like we said at the weekend, that's fine. But if there's like a 3 o'clock one before that, then how are we cooking it? Is the problem. All fun and games.
You
though.
find a way.
Yeah. One question for you.
Yep.
How's this thought occurred to you? I thought this thought may have occurred to this guy. Would there be a part of your brain that doesn't want England to win the World Cup this summer because you want this to be the year Arsenal won the league, and that's it? That's what you want this.
He
year
doesn't
to
even
be.
need to answer it, does he? He really doesn't.
You'd be slightly bitter about it. Go on.
I don't think so. I've enjoyed enough already, and I think I'll be staying up tonight, so I'll get started early for the next game into England.
Some summer you could have.
For at least the next year, we're the champions, and as what happened, I think about February of this year, Liverpool were where they were. People were telling Van Dijk things as if we had said them, that we were the perennial champions in this, and he said they're not the champions yet, we are. And I thought, yeah, fair enough, I agree with you. And he's able to post his golden patch on his Instagram story, and I tell you, I think anytime that hype dies down, there's going to be someone that Gabriel has receipts for, and he's going to let them know in the game that week, and it's just going to keep circling back around and back around and back around. And
I was just checking that for what occurred to you. That was all I would hate for that.
it occurred to me.
Yeah.
It could to all of us, actually.
The Arsenal admin at the moment is posting enough reminders every single day that the hype isn't dropping. Just when I think it's dying down, I see Madueke say, where are our rivals? They were just participating this season. What else were they doing? And I think, you know what? You're all right. 52 million, you're all right.
It's worth it for that.
And we move on. So anyway, let's get on to the teams, because we do have 24 of them to cover, and we've done 25 minutes already. we're going to cover each group. We're going to do 2 teams from each group. I've given everyone some homework to do. Respectfully said to Jack, not even going to ask you because I know it won't work. And he told me, yeah, fair enough. So we'll kick off with Group A. Mexico feels a great place to start. I'm covering Mexico. You're doing USA, I believe, and TK Canada to cover all 3 of the hosts. So we haven't just got you on to talk about food, but that is a bonus across all of these different countries. Mexico is the home of enchiladas and churros and burritos. But the one thing that catches my eye every time, I've watched probably 1,000 videos of people making the quesadilla tacos.
Yeah, you're reeling off those foods, and I'm going, he's not said birria tacos yet.
Yeah, the slow cooked beef and that broth and the melty cheese, everything getting crisped up on the grill.
The best foods that will be discussed today, without a doubt.
And you've got America, so I'm sure there's some
close, but not close enough to birria tacos. Like, we went through a phase at home of birria tacos. We went on Temu, bought a little taco stand to put them on.
We're going to say every day or something then.
And Tesco have actually just released a birria taco sauce as well. So I am a massive advocate for birria tacos.
So when Mexico play at 3 a.m. this Friday morning, you're saying I should...
I'm there like this.
They be 8 o'clock? They might be the 8 o'clock game.
Yeah, the 8 o'clock,
even
yeah.
Better. So lots of people are obviously going to be going to Mexico for the first time during this tournament. I don't know if any of you have seen the clips of the South Korea fans out there today.
No.
There's this South Korean kid being held up by his feet and dunked head first in this bucket of beer, and he's having the time of his life. And it's this guy saying, all this money we've saved up, and the World Cup is basically this worldwide gathering of people showing the different ways that they get on the piss, and it just so happens the Mexicans are introducing the Koreans to something that they're never going to forget. It's this guy, he's like lifting his head up and he's so happy. So
that's what the World Cup's about.
Yeah.
But I'd heard of this before, but I saw photos of that island of the dolls that they have over there. If either of you have seen this, we're going to be a bit food, a bit tour guidey today, and then a bit about the football team as well. Supposedly, this girl's body was found drowned on the beach in the 50s. And so in her memory, this caretaker hung hundreds and hundreds of dolls from trees around the island. Now, if you were to visit there, lots of them still exist, and you just have this haunting image of these decaying dolls hung up in trees for anyone that visits.
That's horrifying.
And so people go to visit it just to get their pictures and their Instagrams and all this, but as the stories have gone on, they say the dolls are haunted, and some of the new dolls have appeared over time that weren't there before, and yeah, all of this crazy stuff.
Jesus.
I'm not sure about that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's not a tradition I can get behind, I don't think.
Well, I led in with the burritos.
And reel me in.
And then give you some of this. So in terms of star players, there's a few that you'll recognise. Edson Alvarez, the one-time Declan Rice replacement. Santiago Jimenez of AC Milan. Raul Jimenez. But the one I would like to highlight is Gilberto Mora. He's 17 years old. He's linked to half of Europe, including Real Madrid. And he could become the youngest Mexican to ever feature at a World Cup. In terms of how far this team should go, they look like they'll be an exciting watch. Quinto partido is the message from the manager, which basically is get to the 5th match. That's the saying that they've got in there. The round of 16, it's possible, it's more likely they go out in the round of 32, looking at some of the teams that they could be in there with. And I would say something to look out for with the Mexican team is nicknames. The Mexicans love nicknames, and if the commentators are on the ball, I think it could be fun.
Hope it's not Dixon.
Yeah, well, I think we've all probably seen the clip.
Dangerous territory if you get into nicknames.
So Edson Alvarez is El Machine. Jimenez is Bambote, which is Big Baby. You've got Quinones, La La Pantera, which is the panther. Pineda Miguito is Little Magician. Raul Jimenez is El Lobo Mexicano, which is the Mexican wolf, which...
Oh,
very good. They've previously obviously had Chikorito and El Matador, Zorro del Desierto, which is Desert Fox. I don't know where they get these from, but I want a Mexican nickname.
it does help that even the bad nicknames sound cool. Like Chikorito is Little P, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we did it in a book, Canelo is like cinnamon. If you were going to write cinnamon,
It's just whatever old northern women would call their grandchildren.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love all of them. Mexico have the record for the most World Cup matches without ever winning the title. They've contested 60 games without winning it. I think that streak will continue, but hopefully they add a few more games to it before they get there.
Yeah, they often get talked about going into a tournament, don't they? And then when you ask the person talking about it, do you actually know any Mexican players? They normally pretty quickly disintegrate. This one, they should benefit from home advantage, you would think, wouldn't you? If any team does, it should be there.
Yeah.
Both in terms of the conditions and in terms of the passionate support.
I think a lot of, and I think we say the same about some of them in England. I think West Ham's, I don't mean to keep digging at you sat there, but when you talk about new stadia and you say that how soulless some of them can be, and you look at some of these Mexican stadiums and just the personality that they have within it, and I think it's going to make some of the most boring games translate really well on the TV just because of what the culture is like over there. America's first sport isn't football. The Mexicans are going to love this and they're going to love everything about it. And I think it's crazy when you think how we've been, that Mexico are going to play one of their group stage games outside of Mexico. I don't think you would do that when we're hosting or when whoever's hosting.
The only part of that is obviously there is a decent Mexican population within America.
Yeah.
Are you drawing in the crowd there? Is the only part.
It just feels like...
Depending on where it lands, I don't actually know where it lands.
Miami, I think
okay,
the third
right.
game could be...
a decent number there. So that's...
I'm not sure of the...
Yeah, but there's hotbeds in terms of parts of America where it will be like being in Mexico, to be honest. The rampant support will be there.
All right, let me tell you about South Korea more than I have already. So, considered one of the safest countries in the world to live in. So, there's that. That's nice for you. Which makes it even more of a mystery that some of the most twisted, violent films and TV shows have come out of that country in the last 20, 30 years. When you look at Old Boy and Parasite and Memories of Murder, I Saw the Devil, Train to Busan, Squid Game, I think is the most recent one. I would say if you're bored of standard hotels, there are a load of monasteries that you can just go and stay in if you're in South Korea, and you can stay with the monks for the evening. There's a giant toilet museum that is shaped just like Tottenham Stadium. There's several abandoned roller coaster parks that they just left for people to go and stroll around and have picnics in and whatever they want to do there. These hobbit hills that people like to picnic around are actually massive grave sites, so it's a very complex place over there.
Are all your categories going to come back to
you're
this?
picking a lot of death here.
Well, I would say I reeled you in with some nice food. If you are eating there, maybe just ask for chips or something, because you can commonly see people eating senyaki, which is live octopus, and the tentacles can stick to the back of your mouth when you're eating it. Honjio, which is raw fermented skate that smells like public toilets. Gable, which is a marine worm, usually eaten raw, that is nicknamed the penis fish due to its appearance. And genuinely, if you were to Google that one now, Gaebul, it does look exactly like a penis fish. So that's on the menu.
Imagine what social dilemma you'd have there. If that tasted great, but I can't go out and order that. I can't.
I've been doing my ice cream rankings. The Calippo has to be lower down on the list based on the fact I feel self-conscious eating it if I'm sat on a bench in public. They have the lowest win rate among teams that have played at least 30 matches at the World Cup, 18.4%. They've won just 7 of their 38 games, but they are expected to get through the groups here.
That's pretty rough when you consider they've also got to a semi-final. So that would have been that's where their wins are.
Son Heung-min, Kim Min-jae, and Lee Kang-in, the kind of players that you would recognise, have all been either riddled with injuries this year or sat on the bench, which isn't an ideal way to be coming into the tournament. But the man in charge, Hong Myung-bo, I'm being very careful with a lot of these pronunciations, played with a back four the entirety of qualifying, where they went unbeaten. With 45 minutes left in the qualifying, said, we're switching to a back five and we'll be sticking with that now going into the tournament, which the media over there are going crazy about because they're pointing out they don't have any wing backs, their best midfielders aren't fit, but the feeling is just if Son can stay on the pitch, they'll have a chance.
The Gareth Bale approach.
Yeah.
The good news for them is there won't be a situation where maybe North Korea can top the group unless South Korea lose and Son can be clean through on goal and miss a chance, which he definitely wouldn't do. He's not that kind of character.
He's just not that type of player.
You may be a bit confused as something to maybe look out for is they're definitely going to mention Jurgen Klinsmann during their games. He was their manager between 2023 and 2024, despite speaking no Korean, not living in Korea, and supposedly not watching K1 football. So he was sacked for
what do you want from this guy?
A failure to demonstrate leadership, and is incredibly unpopular over there. I think he's doing some TV work. So
sure he is,
hopefully he's covering
yeah.
one of their games and we can get them booing him or something like that. But yeah, there's South Korea. There's Group A for you.
Very good.
Looking forward to Mexico in particular.
Yeah, agreed.
TK, if we hear from you next and you can tell us about Canada and Switzerland from Group B.
Okay, so Canada, I mean, jumping straight out of here is the fact that they do have Jesse Marsch at the helm. He is, every interview I've seen about them, he's essentially gone down the route of, we were playing 4-4-2. He really seems to have really emphasised that. But every conversation will be sort of like, so we're going to really press them high, but we're also going to defend deep. We're going to be resolute. It was like, you are just describing footballing terms.
All of the cliches out there, isn't it?
This is just, So I did also see the Canadian media have basically referred to as maple pressing, which I was like, tap me out. Tap me out. I'm out.
I like things like that.
Yeah.
Sums you up.
So, in terms of, if you want a little bit of bit of interesting facts around Canada, not as in depth as Luke's done there, I will admit, but Canada has an estimated 2 million lakes, meaning it has more lakes than the rest of the world combined. Did not know that. Conor did, it appears.
I did, but I'm...
The national dish, probably realise, poutine.
And I know about poutine as well, let me tell you.
Which is fancy way of saying cheesy chips and gravy, isn't it?
Correct.
You can dress it up however you want.
It's unbelievable. Simplicity.
People do that drunk after a night out, and they're calling that the local cuisine.
I'm not a gravy on chips kind of guy.
Oh, it's fantastic. I don't know what people do.
Potato and gravy?
Yeah, it is super. That thing that it's a northern thing, if it is, send me up there.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
So when I would go to Blackpool for the darts and I would go with someone and we'd go to a chippy in the day or something and he'd be like, obviously we're going to get chips and gravy, and I'd say, no, I'll just have salt and vinegar on mine and some curry sauce as well, maybe.
12 hash browns, maybe. In terms of how they're looking sort of coming into it, star player, you obviously know is going to be Alphonso Davies, but he's obviously carrying an injury coming in. I did see only yesterday that their centre half is Bombito Moyes. I saw him, he plays for Nice, I saw him being linked with moves throughout this year anyway. He's just been ruled out of injury as well. Could get a little rough for him. Don't know about you personally, with Jonathan David, I'll believe it when I see it as well. I do remember coming into the last tournament, there's a lot of feeling they were being tipped when you were looking for dark horses or whatever. Canada were very much being tipped. And obviously, since then, they're now at a partly home tournament. Jesse Marsch has come in and done well. He's well liked there. I've forgotten that they came third in the Copa America with the obviously, and then beating the USA in the third and fourth place playoff with Marsch scrapping on the sidelines. So he's obviously progressed them. And I think they're happy with the job he's done. But I do kind of look at it and go, similarly to what you said about Mexico there, about 5 games, I think all 3 host nations are thinking along those lines. They're obviously not all going to do it. And I don't think Canada would. I think they'll get out of the group, but I don't think they're doing anything much further than that. I'm not really sure how you can with your best players either injured or carrying injury. And I don't think the home advantage we spoke about with Mexico there, I don't know that Canada are going to be able to press that home quite as much. Could be wrong. But.
Well, Marsh wanted the USA job, didn't he? So he's operating on a bit of a, I'll show you. And maybe there's something in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sings the Canadian national anthem and everything. So.
The fact
big thing of
that Davies has missed so much football recently, maybe they'll be better equipped to deal without him because they've had to for periods recently.
It does also... The interesting thing is they obviously flitted between putting him at left back or further forward and kind of never fully decided, whereas in the run they'd been on, they had him at left back. But so whether him coming in or out of the team is going to affect that is probably another sort of wrinkle as well. But I don't really see... I think of the host nations, they might be damp squib of them, if I was having a guess. Switzerland as well.
Yeah.
It's a bit of Switzerland. So, interesting fact around Switzerland. Technically, they don't have a capital city.
Okay.
Bern acts as a capital city, but they are so neutral that they didn't want basically anyone getting uppity or whatever. So they said, no, you're all the states have got equal. But Bern, I think, kind of just took the initiative. We'll be the boys. But technically, they've never actually been told that. Kind of like someone who elects themselves as best man or something. But I'll be the best man.
I'll do
Did
that,
you ever get told that? No. National dish, fondue. Again, something well over
TK picking 2 cheese-based dishes.
Yeah.
Not on my cards, I have to say.
It's not mine. It wouldn't be my choice.
Fair.
He's a sneaky cheese guy.
Genuinely, he's reading off that Korean food, and with the exception of the penis dish, I'll take it over the fondue and the.
The one of them I said smells like a public toilet.
It's not cheese, though, is it?
There are some cheeses that may well smell like a public toilet.
So as ever, they do come into these tournaments, don't they? You tend to think Switzerland, whatever group they're in, they'll come second, and then they'll go out in the knockout phases. Tend to be what you think. Now, obviously, they've also thrown some upsets in there, haven't they? Obviously, when they knocked out France, then they went toe to toe with who was it after? Was it Spain? Or was it?
Yes.
I got that the wrong way around. So they've got it, and I think there is a feeling that for some of these players, it's kind of the last hurrah. You're probably looking at Granit Xhaka is still coming in, seen as the star player, as the leader. He's not going to do another one, you would think. Some of the previous guys, like Shaqiri and that, are obviously gone. Jan Sommer. But I think there's probably a feeling this is the last. I did see the term golden generation used. I was like, just steady, just stay. They've done well, haven't they? So, and Mbolo is always knocking about in every World Cup game. You're like, this guy, what's he doing? What's he doing the rest of the time? So he'll be a threat, you imagine.
I feel like a lot of this squad is just we recognise names from it.
People who have been linked with other clubs.
Some of the talk around Zakaria when he signed on loan for Chelsea was we shouldn't have let them get him. Like, this was already a near complete squad and they've got him in. I think that was the year they won the Europa League. Maybe they weren't up to much. And then I don't want to tread on your toes in terms of
I did wonder if someone like Indulge from Forest could have a big tournament. I remember when he first came in the Prem, people thought he could do something. I think he scored early on, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think that was his only goal.
Well,
I don't think he scored again.
They signed like 7. They signed him and then they signed like Amari Hutchinson.
Yeah. And let's face it, he's a bit of a different style to what they were doing last year on the sides with, say, Hudson-Odoi and Elanga. Ndoi's a different style again, isn't he? But I did wonder, is he going to be one of those classic, does better for the national team than he did at club level as well? In terms of something to look out for, you've probably seen the name Johan Manzabi from Freiburg. He's been linked with Arsenal, Chelsea, United. So if he has a big tournament, you imagine it's one of those where big tournament gets you the big move. In terms of how far they go, as I said, you always think get to the knockouts and then they'll probably get binned. I did do a bit of like a practice bracket earlier, and they could get Portugal in not 32 in the last 16. It'd be craziest thing if they beat Portugal. Then I know Portugal would be the favourite, but it wouldn't be the craziest thing. So maybe they can put a run together. I do. In this group, I do like them as well. I do like them to do well in the group. So I don't know. Maybe they can put a run together. You'd back sort of Xhaka to drag a team through a difficult game as well. But I think it'll probably be pretty classic Switzerland.
Commentators everywhere are gutted that they don't get to mention Valon Behrami as the Swiss Beckham in this tournament. I see Ricardo Rodriguez, much like Xhaka, is knocking around still.
Yeah.
And then they've got Noah Okafor from Leeds, Akanji at the back.
Yeah, that's it. Like someone like Akanji is that level of player, isn't it? Where some of the teams will go through, they can have like a standout player, but then the rest there's a drop. Switzerland are like a good, solid all-round team, aren't they? They kind of just always tend to be coming into them. But that's kind of solid. Is probably going to get you so far.
I think we're sticking with you for Group C, if I'm not mistaken, with Morocco and then Haiti.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to, kind of warm up the vocal cords.
We've got him then with Group D, so...
Okay, so
to go in group order.
Okay, all right. I didn't want people getting sick of me, that was all.
I hadn't considered the order of the groups when I was divvying them out, so there's a couple of times, I think, where you and Conor go back-to-back, and me as well, actually.
Okay, national dish, couscous. All that.
Morocco is this?
Pardon?
It's Morocco, right?
Yeah.
I don't know enough
It's not
about
still
Haiti.
Switzerland.
I don't know enough about Haiti to know.
Yeah. Would have been great. Still the Swiss. Fondue, couscous. Interesting fact. This is so Sultan Ismail bin Sharif
Rolls off the tongue.
is believed to have fathered the most children ever. At least 800, potentially over 1,000. And if you look at the list, the people below him are either those creepy doctors who have injected people or like sperm donors, whatever. This bloke, just a shagger.
Just the love of the game.
Straight up shagger. Had a harem of 500 women.
Can you imagine the child maintenance bill? That is insane.
You've also got to bear in mind, this is, I think it's 18th century, early 18th century. So I was thinking, obviously people aren't moving around so much. If you are a descendant of him, you can't go on a date.
Yeah, because you're not escaping that.
There's no way. There's a more than reasonable chance you are also his grandchild.
I was thinking, is he the guy that Vince Vaughn film was based on? Was where I thought maybe you were going.
So there you go. Yeah, that's a bit of fun for you.
That
you weren't expecting
insane.
that.
Bit of fun for him.
A lot of
It
them.
must have been falling
We've had
off.
some death and a lot of life.
That must have been falling off by the end as well.
How do we know? I imagine he's quite. This is before dating apps. This is like
Yeah,
he's been
exactly.
Just putting in work.
Just a shagger.
That's wild. Probably just lying there. Yeah. Got a queue of them.
He's
Next
also
one
probably
Next.
lying. He's probably lying a lot.
Nah, I believe him.
Was he just like the biggest bullshitter ever? Like, yeah, of course you did, mate. 800, yeah, all right.
Completed it, mate.
No, because that is on the thing they said. No, it's actually like a verified thing that they've. Yeah.
Do you think at some point the state would step in and be like,
Well, but he's the Sultan, so he can do what he wants, can't he?
Okay,
He's just
okay.
going,
He's thinking,
I'll do what I
now
feel.
this economy is booming. We've never had more life.
Yeah, he wasn't getting this because he was a good-looking bloke. It was just may have been, I don't know. Obviously, one of the main every game you have with these, there's going to be the talking point is going to be obviously the AFCON final with Senegal. It's going to come out in both of these teams' games, constantly be referenced. Probably rightly so. Probably the thing that kind of is going to get overlooked is that both of those are actually good teams. When you look at this team and its results over the last couple of years, they have been going in the right direction. Now, the thing that I guess if you're looking for something to look out for, slightly odd, the manager has not long left. The manager who got them to the finals not long. So the manager just been in. He's only had 2 games so far. The manager after the final to Senegal, they just repeatedly asked him if he was going to resign, and somebody said that he was responsible for making children cry in the stands.
have we ever had a
Imagine that in a press conference. How do you respond? Well, yeah, I guess that's me.
Have we ever had a country try to get a new manager bounced during the tournament? So
Just before the tournament.
Say we draw like France, and we're like, we don't know how else we're going to do this.
We have a couple of flat performances. We go, listen, get someone else in. Although, as you said, I've watched some Tuchel videos now, and I'll tell you what, he got me believing. You can say whatever.
It's the excitement of the tournament.
Yeah.
because there's not going to be much once they kick off.
Once they start playing. In terms of star players, obviously, like Hakimi or whatever stand out. I think probably the one that's going to be the difference maker will be Brahim Diaz. If he can deliver, I know he got AFCON player of the tournament. If he can replicate that sort of form, not the penalty taking ability, then they've got something there. He's probably just got a bit of magic that maybe some of the other players haven't had in that position. I could see them doing well. Actually, I can see them definitely into the last 16. I think it's a decent group for them. And again, putting a sort of bracket together earlier, you could see them definitely winning the first round, maybe even the second round. I think everyone obviously looks out for dark horses going into the tournament, and it's quite a popular thing to do to try and pick out an Asian or African team often, let's face it, to try and go because we think we know enough about European and South American sides. And I think Morocco probably will be picked by a lot of people, which always is a red flag because you don't want that. But I actually think they probably would be a decent shout as well. The only thing being, obviously, new manager, how much, from what I've read around their 2 games under him, he kind of has made a point of not changing too much. Does he, in a World Cup, start getting his own ideas, or does he just go, we'll keep doing what the previous guy was doing? And in that case, how well does that work? I guess is the question with them.
What about Haiti?
Haiti. Now we're into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
Because the way I've heard Scotland fans talking about them, I'm expecting a very tough team that you're about to describe.
Yeah. Scotland fans don't know where they're at, because then I also saw a bunch of them going mad at, who was it? It was Tim Vickery online, who obviously covers South American football, and he was saying something about how Bolivia have basically been a disgrace. They've just lost to a team that lost to Scotland or something. And yeah, I know a Scottish fan just going at him, going like, you're bang out of order there. And he's like, hang on, what have I said? And he had no idea what it's like. Yeah. So, all right. What we all came for, the national dish. Griot, which is fried pork. And soup jamu, which is like a pumpkin soup. Squash, beef, potatoes, mixed with vegetables. Nice. Interesting fact, the term zombie appears to have started in Haiti.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff about Haitian voodoo and stuff like that, and they think the first time they've seen it, and the description of a zombie was in manuscripts from Haiti. In terms of star players, and we're going to be stretching it here, because the 2 ones that I was reading an article earlier and saying, like, look, we're feeling really hopeful about this. I saw interviews with their fans who are very optimistic. The manager is a good talker. You kind of, if I didn't know anything about football, I'd go, I'm buying into what this guy's selling. And then at the bottom of this article, there's again, they're very hopeful that the likes of Wilson Isidore and Bellegarde are going to be. We might be pushing it here, but if Bellegarde can play like he did against Liverpool that time, then he'll be in for the Ballon d'Or, and they might end up winning the tournament. But I'm going to assume that was a one-off event. So, yeah, there's also their top scorer is a guy called Duckens Nazon. I don't know if I've pronounced that right. But he's got an interesting story. He's the highest ever scorer of 44 goals. And he was playing in Iran this year. Not a place to be playing your club football this year, it turns out.
This time of year, no.
So, So there's a lot of stories. This will definitely get a lot of traction. I can see Matterface getting a fair bit out of this on a game, for example, that around him having to evacuate out there when the war started and things like that. So
he'll lap that up when he.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stories around the team. Obviously, one of the things being, I think it is impressive that they've topped a qualifying group where Costa Rica are in it. They're obviously normally sort of mainstays of the World Cup. And they've had to do it all on the road because they can't play back home due to political turmoil and gang violence, stuff like that. Which is also to the point where their manager has never set foot in Haiti because of that. So he's been given the job, never actually had a game there, never set foot in the country. But he's kept his job, unlike Jurgen Klinsmann. I kind of look at this team as, whilst we know, obviously, they are huge underdogs here for numerous reasons, I do wonder if you kind of look at the form. They smashed New Zealand 4-0 just recently. England have only just, scraped past them. Now I know they barely tried a leg, they rotated half the team, pitch was a bog, all that stuff. But for a team like Haiti,
it's a result, isn't it?
And for that qualification process as well, I do kind of look at that as a team, especially reading around it. They kind of know what they are in terms of they're going to have to be hard to break down. I do wonder, their first game is against Scotland. Do you think if that game is going deep into the game and Scotland haven't broken them down, hardly a team that's known for being like prolific themselves, do wonder if it might get a bit squeaky bum for Scotland, especially with the conditions being what they are. I do wonder if that might be an early sort of story in the World Cup. Like maybe they could, even if they get a point, they were saying on that, like if they leave with a point, there's a level of achievement. Now they're not saying we're coming for a point, but there's something in that I do wonder if that might be the case, because I'm not giving them much hope against Brazil or Morocco. So as a feel good story, I wonder if they might be the early ones in the World Cup.
Forgot to turn one of the overhead lights off, that's why I scrambled up then. Hopefully it hasn't messed with the entire rest of the video. If I get up...
I was just looking like a ghost for the first part of it.
You were looking a bit pale.
He's not wearing a t-shirt.
if I get up later, it's to just check that again, so I'm not ignoring anyone or just getting another drink, so it could be either of them. Conor, you sat there very patiently. What can you tell us about, firstly, the United States and then Paraguay from Group D?
With the United States, obviously, their star player has got to be none other than the LeBron James of soccer himself, Christian Pulisic. I did watch glimpses, I know I mentioned I didn't watch the England game, but saw glimpses and a few goals from the Germany warm-up that the USA had. That Anthony Robinson strike, by the way.
Oh my God.
He had no business doing that. And the backflip to suit. A week before the World Cup starts, your home nation, and you're pulling out a backflip like that. Some strike, but they took it very seriously, which you can understand why they would. I saw that challenge towards the end of the game where he's sprinted full on from about 25 yards away just to launch off the floor straight at him, and you think, this is a friendly a week before a World Cup. There's a bit of risk going on there. And they couldn't understand why the German players were just livid with him.
I think the big pushback with them from fans is that they don't care. So they're constantly in this space of having to prove that they do care enough, because they had some players that turned down the tournament they did last summer, turned down. And so I think they're constantly in this space of having to try and live up to something that
and you can appreciate that. You can't get behind a team, or you can't get behind a player that refuses to play for their country. It's despicable. Not in your head there.
Do you think there's also, they thought, about 20% of this country might think this is an actual World Cup game, so we'll just play like it is.
They might think it's the final. Yeah.
Also, just clock what I nodded.
Bloody hell.
Got it.
He didn't refuse to play. He was told he wasn't going to play and said, fine, I'll go home and enjoy a holiday with my wife.
And what about the next few call-ups? Interesting fact about America. I've got a few, actually. 130 people are killed every day with guns in America. The original Craven Cottage...
Okay, that's a pivot.
Wait for this. This is a pivot. Is 4 years younger than the USA.
Oh my God.
What is it?
Admittedly,
how stupid of a what is the original Craven Cottage?
So the cottage that was there then burnt down, and then years later, Fulham bought it to play football.
It's a little bit like Trigger's broom. It's got different mop, different handle, same cottage.
The cottage is burnt down, and then he just put a few seats in. But I saw that today, and I thought, there is no fucking chance that is real, and it is.
That's cool.
It is factual.
How much of this episode is just me people listening at work, pausing it,
going, did you know?
Trusting us to just drop some trivia and then getting back to work.
Don't want to trust all of mine. They also have no official language at federal level. So you would assume it's English. Obviously, there's a lot of Spanish speaking in the USA.
They don't like that.
But,
Super Bowl told me they're not
so I've
keen
heard.
on that.
But they do not have an official language. Food was a tricky one, because at first you think, they're massive, so it's easy to select something here. Not all that original. So barbecue is where I've settled with. I think undeniable. You look down, particularly Southern America, You know, you got your Texas, your Memphis. Very, very barbecue orientated. Buffalo wings as well. We all love a buffalo wing. Believe it or not, created in Buffalo.
Not a wings guy.
Not a wings guy.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit, you can have boneless wings. They're just adult chicken nuggets.
So what, chicken nuggets for kids? Did you ever watch the film Chef?
Sorry, with Jon Favreau?
Yeah.
I think I watched the first half of it maybe and then just never got back to it. I'm also glad you haven't brought up the picture I sent you days ago where I decided to get myself a Happy Meal at McDonald's because I wanted some chicken nuggets.
No judgment there.
Hey,
But if you watch, they go to New Orleans and you see the barbecue food that they have there, and everything in that film just looks unbelievable.
I remember seeing like a docu-series that he did. I imagine it's probably...
I think he wanted to make things look a bit more real after he cast Scarlett Johansson as his bit on the side.
Hey, if you can, you would, wouldn't you?
I'm forgetting the name.
You cast whoever you want.
Who's his love interest? Who's his ex-wife in the film? Latina.
Yeah. Because I'm about to say...
I was just about to throw out some...
What's this sound like? It's not...
No, it is...
But it is outrageous.
Sofia Vergara is his
of course it is, yeah.
Scarlett Johansson is a bit on the side, and Scarlett Johansson completely understands when he wants to get back with Sofia Vergara. So
I mean, that is, you know, it's
So tolerable.
It's choices.
Yeah, admirable, actually.
I think he pauses his time with Scarlett Johansson to make them both a very nice grilled cheese, and then they get back to business. As you were.
Yeah, so obviously the food in America, not a lot of it original, but they do it big and they do it well over there. Barbecue particularly. I am doing America for my honeymoon as well, which is great, so I'll feed back there. I think I already did when I was out there last time, actually, to you, particularly with the food in all the parks. It's just they are just good at food. It's expensive, but the portion sizes are always more than enough.
I saw someone saying they hope all countries do this, and it was different nationalities who've gone to America realising what the food is like, and I can't think what nationality it was that was posting, but they posted this milkshake that had like a compartment on top with a cake going through the straw. What is going on? What's going on with this?
So my dad went to he's just come back from Texas actually, but a few years ago he went to New Orleans, and he's not like a health guru, but he doesn't really care for food that much. He can appreciate the nice meal here or there, but he sees it as fuel, right? So he's over there.
A couple of obvious questions here.
And he is eating... he's eating... Me, my brother and sister, nothing like either of them, to be fair. He's eating all of this barbecue food the whole time, and he tells us, I got to the last day, and I was like, do you know what? I just want like a salad. So he orders a salad, and he goes, no joke, about that thick with bacon bits on the top. He couldn't see green on the salad. It came out as just bacon bits everywhere. Which is my idea of an unbelievable salad, if you ask me. What to look out for over there is probably the cringiest set of fans you'll ever witness in your life. I went to Florida with a few mates, and we went to go watch Orlando City. Not too long after they just signed Kaká, so we were like, "Oh, this is going to be class. We're going to see him." So we bought the tickets, and they put you in a tourist-specific area, which is in front of their, I'll use the term extremely loosely, ultras. And
got a bit nasty, did it?
There was one guy in front of us who didn't watch the game. He had his back to the pitch the entire game, and he's encouraging people to sing.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and he's just doing that. The whole time, right? Kaká was injured the week before we flew out there. Hurt his back, so missed that anyway. But yeah, the chance that they come up with, obviously you see all the compilations everywhere. The fight and win. I believe that we will win. And we all eat barbecue. The thing that we noticed when we were out there, and whether they still do this 11 years later, I don't know, is chanting the referee's a wanker outside of the stadium before the game during their like tailgating parties. And it's like, you've made that assumption already.
They also don't know what wanker means.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, so I've also noted that all of the because they will chant defense as well, like your other American sports. Worse than Mauled by the Tigers and worse than the Southampton in Europa Zone. It's all terrible.
I quite like the I believe that we will win. I enjoy that.
I believe that we will win.
It's horrific. It is, and part of me is like, it's one of those things that you have to watch it, but you're like watching it through your fingers because you just don't quite believe that it is.
You've seen the clips
bad.
online before of them reacting to British chants, and I've seen them reacting to "She Said No's" and this kind of thing, and I saw the confusion. Do you remember that clip with those, like, he's got a plant put on his head? Of them being so confused as to what was going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of information for them to take in, though, isn't it? Absolutely. In terms of how far they go, I think round 16, if they perform as well as they can. They have got some decent enough players in there. I wouldn't say, they're filled with stars.
The big freaking goal, Matt freaking Turner.
So much passion there.
Ex-arse.
Yeah, so I think round of 16 is probably where they top out.
Their expectations are always like
and
higher than they maybe
and
should.
they're going to be higher,
and because
in
home tournament
nation,
punches the manager, so they kind of think they got a guy who's knows the way around.
Although I do think I don't think that they benefit from the home nation as much as Mexico do, partly because of how they support their teams. Like, Mexico will get on top. South America, the football in South America is just passion. It is people, like you say, because it is their first sport. But over there, in
so you don't think shouts of defence will get them going?
No,
But
unfortunately not.
If there's something we know about America is that they don't do anything in half measures. And so I do think for the duration of the tournament, like when they played us and they got that 0-0, you saw like how
But it's more like,
much that meant.
I think the support is more like, it's going to sound ridiculous, more jovial than it is getting behind the team and getting on top of things. It's just celebrating the occasion.
If we lose, it's the end of the world. Whereas, like, for them, it's...
They're like, we'll get them next time,
thing.
guys.
Yeah.
I think that when they
this one might be a little bit more ramped up than that.
and I
because the
think
build-up to it as well.
when they lose to us, for example, they can rationalise it. I think when you look at those teams there, whether they're better or not, they'll be feeling that they should beat Australia, Paraguay and Turkey. So we'll see how that goes there. Not that we like to drop names very often, but it's quite well timed with what's in the cinema at the moment. Is we did an interview, and I'm going to get his name wrong now, with Dave Sheridan, who played Doofy in the original Scary Movie. One of the best interviews we did, we had stories about Shannon Elizabeth and Carmen Electra and all this stuff from back then. And he just carried on talking. I had a Portland Timbers shirt on when we did the interview, and he just asked about it, and we carried on. And we were talking about Freddie Adu, and we had this long conversation. And you look down their squad now and how desperate they are to have one of these kind of elite talents be from there, like they have in almost every other sport. The fuss when they convinced Folarin Balogun, the Arsenal player at the time, to commit to them was huge. They had all these promos coming out. He was the face of American football.
He's going to be the face of the arse.
And he's got 9 goals now, I believe, for them. 27 caps, something like that. And so they're desperate for someone to be a thing there. And I think if for nothing else, one of these players can make themselves something just by having a moment in one of these tournaments.
It's kind of what they've been waiting for Pulisic to do, isn't it? It's like become our guy, the actual star.
Yeah.
It probably would be. All you would take is for a player to come up and properly take over in Europe, and then that probably feeds back, and then you probably maybe the appeal then to Saka coming through helps because you've got that star that you can hold up, whereas instead Pulisic never quite sort of made it as that guy. If he'd done it at Chelsea, for example, they go, oh, he's the best player in the Premier League. Yeah. And then you've got that, because you don't.
Weston McKennie has maintained a certain level of clout, I think, in part because he's American. You look at Tim Weah as another one. Some of these names that we probably just wouldn't know quite so well if they weren't American. And you go down, Anthony Robinson is someone who isn't a guaranteed starter for them in any one position. They just kind of fit him where they need to play him. I think they've got a good enough team in there. Ultimately, you need to be resolute in the back in international football. And they've got Serginho Dest, who's been playing Champions League football for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Chris Richards, Anthony Robinson both play at a high level in the Premier League. You've got Trusty, who's there at Celtic now, not the best, but is a capable player. In front of them, when you look, Weston McKennie, whoever it's going to be, they've got a foundation there. And then with Balogun, Aronson, Pulisic, whoever it's going to be, tight at the back and fast up top is a pretty good formula for going some way in football. And ultimately, scoring goals, I think, is as important when you look at just getting through in third place. They'll be gutted with that, but I think there's enough there where there's no complex that they need to be feeling. They can just go out there, see what happens, basically. And Poch should be able to get something out of that team. The issue seems to be that he hates them and they hate him. It's the feeling at this point. If it goes wrong, he's going to get the blame above all else. So they may as well go out free hit and see what happens.
Yeah, agreed.
Conor, tell us about
Paraguay. Obviously, I've got a lot to say about Paraguay.
Okay.
Star player. I think you've got to go. And obviously, I had to do a bit of research here. I'm not that au fait. I'm not just going to go Almiron straight off the bat.
Roque Santa Cruz.
Oscar Cardozo. Gustavo Gomez, who's their captain, and they're seen as a more defensive side than they are attacking. So, yeah, being that sort of rock at the back, they haven't really got that attacking threat now. With the injury that they've had, and Cisso's out again week before the tournament, whatever it is. Gutted for him. So, yeah, having your captain there, who plays, I think he plays in Brazil, and he's the captain for Palmeiras. So it's probably going to be their most important player. Star player, maybe not so much, but he's going to be the most important sort of rock at the back there. Interesting fact about Paraguay. They're one of the largest exporters of hydroelectricity in the world. So gun crime levels, I'm not sure, but hydroelectricity right at the top.
Have they got a prolific shagger there?
That's true. Yeah.
Let's go back to Enciso. He's someone that, no matter who he's been playing for, whenever I've seen him play, he seems like a right little bastard. But he always looks so good and so exciting. And that's really what you're looking for in some of these games when there isn't too much inspiring, to just look for a player like
just
that.
Kick it on.
That can do something,
Yeah, so it's...
And their importance in a team like this is just elevated, isn't it? To the point where it's interesting to see they do seem to be lifted by that responsibility often at World Cups.
It's like when we talk about teams that set out and, okay, they've got one player, as long as that player can stay on the pitch, he could have been that guy. But food. Sopa Paraguaya, which is like a cornbread with onions, is their national dish. That's what they're most known for. How far they go, probably not going to get out the group stages, I wouldn't have thought, but if they do, they're certainly gone in the next round.
Yeah, fair.
Right, let's move on to Group E, and I've been excited to tell you about Ecuador. If you're looking for a dark horse from South America, Ecuador could be the team. TK, we did a pod about Peru back in 2018, one of the most unhinged I remember us doing around that time. I brought it up to you recently and asked if we were drunk at the time because it had such a...
It's 2 hours of Jefferson
vibe. No, it's like we did these little tiny ones where we just picked teams like this, and they were all about 10 minutes long.
They're all good fun.
Yeah.
I thought informative, but it turns out just not so much.
I flicked
the worrying thing was, I said, I'm pretty sure we weren't drunk. Yeah. We're already confident we didn't drink.
I flicked to a random point and he was debating the meat to fur ratio on my cat, or cats at the time, if he was to eat them.
Just for clarification, not drunk.
No. I think pretty sure sober. Stone cold sober. I'm pretty sure.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to find these, aren't I?
So I think it was called Cocaine and Coffee or something like that, which
that explains it.
Very similar. This team here. So a huge thing for us then was the fact that they eat guinea pig in Peru.
Okay, well there we go. At least I've got. Where was I going with that? Right. Okay. Yeah.
Ecuador do the same, but they're a lot more basic with it. So in Peru, you get it fried or baked until crispy. You get these spices and sauces on top. In Ecuador, you're getting it served whole, head, teeth, everything.
Crying child.
Apparently the teeth get very crispy and there's no real taste to them. But if that doesn't tickle your fancy, you could have some cow brain stew. You could have some crispy pork with barbecue potatoes and plantain.
I'll have that one, please.
But I was kind of reading like a tourist.
No, if you're not got any chips,
Just no gravy with it, all right?
I was reading like a tourist guide, and they have what's called the Devil's Nose Railway in a Lorsey town, which sounded very impressive. I couldn't get a good YouTube video to feel it properly, but everything you read about it, it sounds very cool. It's a track that goes 500 meters up and down in a zigzag carved into the rocks in the mountain. So when you see a picture of the track and the views, it all looks cool. The videos don't look as steep as it's described, but there is the feeling that these tracks are millions of years old, just carved into a rock face. So this could go wrong at any point. I think they say they've made it far more touristy now. So the destination, these people come off and dance in front of you and you have to stay there for like 25 minutes. So what should be like an hour-long trip is 2.5 hours. But you are going in a train right up a mountain, so you can hike it if you'd rather do that. I don't think I would like to do that, even with my Duke of Edinburgh award.
Bronze.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't get the gold.
Outside of seeing that, I did find myself just watching old Chito Vera highlights, which one of Ecuador's greatest exports. So 2 very different parts there. In 19 matches under Sebastian Bekacheche, which may have pronounced that wrong. I did try the little Google Translate, but I've forgotten.
Impressive.
I've forgotten if
Go
that
with
was
it.
right.
Go with it.
But their record is incredible. 7 wins, 11 draws, just 1 defeat. And that sole loss was a 1-0 defeat in Brazil in the manager's first game. So they've got Caicedo of Chelsea, William Pacho of Champions League winners Paris Saint-Germain, and Piero Hincapié of Premier League winners Arsenal making up the spine of the team.
Nice.
And they all came from the same academy. So they've just got this little hub in their Independiente. They're very happy to play without the ball, as you'd imagine with those 3 players. They are still relying on Enner Valencia up top, which can be good. And this is off the back of, do you remember there was the thing they let him get subbed off and they arrested him?
Yes.
They tried to arrest him and he hid in the back of an ambulance to get out of the stadium.
Superb.
Yeah, I think it was.
Sorry, how have I missed this?
Yeah, I think it was.
It was coming out of the London Stadium.
I think it was unpaid child support or something like
Yeah.
that.
Shagger.
800 children.
But yeah, they still got him up top. Gonzalo Plata looks like tons of fun to watch just from some highlights, and it'll be interesting to see what Kendry Pies looks like. He's on loan from Chelsea. He's one of those like 50 South American teenagers that they spent decent money on, and he'll be back at the club, I guess, in a couple of years. Very few of their starting 11 are playing in Europe's top 5 leagues, but they look like they know what they are, which is one of the biggest things in international football. They look resolute at the back, fast up top, outside of Enner Valencia. And that's usually a pretty good combo.
Don't need his positioning. That's what it's all
And
about.
ahead of a bit of pace when he was coming off the pitch.
You'd expect Germany to top that group, but if they come second, they could set up a tie with my South Korea boys in the next round. And ideally, some Heung-min Son tears there would be fantastic.
That record kind of means something more when you've been in the South American qualifiers as well, doesn't it? When you come in with a record like that, it's like, okay, they've done this properly, as opposed to if we dunk on Andorra or whatever.
Something to look out for among the fans is a colourful Aya Humor mask in the crowd. It's almost like a deluxe Lucha Libre mask. They're like really tall, they've got more layers to it, and I imagine if someone's wearing it, the cameras are going to pick them out on TV, and we'll get something like that, which basically they go and find someone if they can't find a woman in the crowd to zoom in on. So they probably can find someone with Ecuador, to be honest, but after that, if they're trying to even things out, one of these masks I think would make good TV.
If they're playing in America, I would exercise caution trying to take a mask in there with just not the friendliest bunch. Some of the officers that they got knocking about, just to warn you.
I'd like to say that's the last joke we'll have of that nature today. Can't guarantee it.
No comment.
We'll move on to Curacao. I'll be so honest with you, I hadn't even heard of them until they were used as an example of a team that should be removed to let Italy in. Italy have not qualified for 3 tournaments in a row, and everyone just wants them in the tournament because we know their players. It may well be the most picturesque country in the tournament, just going by their top Google image searches. In the 19th century, one of their governors said that the way the sunlight was reflecting off the white buildings was giving him a migraine. So he ordered for all of the buildings in the centre of town to be painted in different colours. So they've upheld this tradition. So if you go into the middle now, it looks so nice with, you've got pink and yellow and orange, all these different buildings.
That's also what you just
like
did. Turning that light off, that's just what you did. It was giving me a migraine. Just the light was bouncing off Tika.
So you've got the deep blue water, some pink buildings. It's a prime Instagram location. If
I think you're just describing Padstow.
Probably not as warm. I didn't know that it's a Dutch Caribbean island.
That's the only thing I knew about it. Genuinely, that's the only thing I knew.
By their goalkeeper's admission, they basically got to this tournament because they didn't have to play the United States, Canada, or Mexico in qualifying as they're hosting it. So it kind of freed a pathway for them to get in. But they did then go unbeaten. They beat Jamaica to qualify. And here they are. They're the smallest nation to ever compete at a World Cup, both based on population and landmass. They have Dick Advocaat as their manager at 80 years old.
Yeah.
So they'll also have the oldest manager to ever compete at a World Cup.
Superb.
Just a feel-good story, isn't it? It's going to be that team where they nick a goal, it's a scrappy goal, and the celebrations are just incredibly wholesome.
I know I've presented you with some delicacies so far. This might float your boat, Conor, maybe not yours, TK. Their signature
We're back
dish...
on the penis one.
Their signature dish is called keshiyena, which is basically a pie, but instead of pastry, they hollow out a block of cheese and they put the meat and vegetables and spices and sauces in there, melt it all down into what I guess is basically a pile then at that point. And
what a nation.
And you dig into that. So, take the pastry, replace it with a big cheese, and that's what you've got. It does look good based on what I've seen.
I have to say, if I like cheese, that would be great. That sounds like everything.
It's a lot of cheese.
Yeah, it sounds like that meat in a pie.
Yeah, meat pie inside a block of cheese. That's
without the pastry.
Superb.
Leandro Bacuna is their star player, the ex-Villa player. And if you're thinking, who is that? That probably tells you the players in this team. He'll likely play as part of the midfield 3 alongside his brother. The other player you may have heard of will be Taith Chong, who plays up front and on the wing. They basically have little to no chance in a group with Germany, Ecuador and the Ivory Coast, but Bacuna has come out and claimed they're going to continue to try and play possession-based football and build from the back. So they could be food. So get on the overs in their games and see what happens. Above all else, their away kit is spectacular. It's maybe the best kit in the tournament outside of Spain's away kit. So wear that in every game possible. If they do lose, at least lose in style. And that's Curaçao for you.
Superb.
Is that enough to get you up at 3 or 5 a.m. to watch them? I'm not sure, but maybe prepare your own food the night before.
Yeah, might be enough to get me into a cheesy pie.
I feel like that's something you could stick in the air fryer and be good to go in.
Just let it happen.
15, 20 minutes.
Do
someone asked, how do you cook this?
Just put it in, flick it on, let it happen.
I'm going to sit back for a little bit now. So, TK, if you want to educate us about Japan and Sweden from Group F.
Right, I do think Japan, not for the first time coming into the tournament, are probably going to be talked up by a lot of people. There's a general feeling around them this is the best they've been coming into a tournament. Their form coming into it's good. I know they've just had a couple of injuries. Obviously, Matoma went down. Apparently, Minamino went down. Poor guy. But outside of that, they've whacked England. They've whacked. I think there's Brazil on the record as well. So there's performances in there that you can kind of take away from it. And so everything around them they constantly say about is high press and aggression. Now, it's going to be interesting. Any team that sets out like that, how they can play in these conditions. whether you can maintain that is going to be interesting. But yeah, it does look like a team. If you go team, who do I need to get up to have a watch of? They look like a team that should be one of the most exciting teams on paper. If you're looking for an interesting fact, Inamuri is sleeping while present. Basically, you can sleep in public, on public transport, even in a meeting. It's encouraged because that shows the person has worked hard. Feels a bit toxic. I've got to be honest. Feels a little bit that.
Yeah, nodding off and getting praise for it.
So if we're having mid-conversation, one of you drifts off now, we go, well, listen, he's obviously worked hard today. So it's fine.
Or he stayed up till 4 a.m. to try and watch Kennett.
National dish, it's actually curry. Even though you'd go down the route of sushi or ramen or whatever, it's a Japanese curry would be the one. In terms of players to look out for, everything you read about the team, they constantly emphasise how it's like team ethic and all that stuff. But if you're having to pick out individuals, obviously Kubo does look like he's not quite the sort of Real Madrid's answer to Messi, which he was being billed at when he was younger. But if you look at what he's done at Sociedad and how they think of him in Japan, he would be sort of the poster boy. But I guess the guy who is going to be the difference maker potentially for them is the guy up top, Iozi Ayuda. I don't know if I've said it right. Top scorer by a distance in Holland this year for Feyenoord. And again, he's another one that I've heard tenuous links with a move. I think he's about 27, so don't know if clubs will go for big money for him. But let's face it, all it takes is a good year there and a good World Cup, and a Prem club probably tries to make a move for you. And I imagine he might be the one, if you're looking for someone who can change their fortunes before and after this World Cup, might be him. I don't know about you. We look at some of these teams, you go, that's a really good team. Don't really know where the striker is. You just spoke about Enner Valencia. It's that sort of thing of, this is a really well constructed team, but then where's the end product? If he can have a good tournament, then obviously that can make a big difference for Japan. If it's not, we're going to go Holland's a Farmers League, aren't we? So that's going to be an interesting one with them. I do think, just from reading around them, in terms of how many international teams are actually well functioning teams at almost like club level sides, it does feel like the Japan team coming into this has one of the better cases for that. Now, whether injuries to likes of Mitoma might hurt them, probably is a decent argument. But I think, obviously, I think they'll get into the knockouts, and it's not an easy group. It could have been obviously an easy group for them. I was reading around Tunisia, not stepping on anyone's toes, but apparently they're going to be quite tough to break down and tough to beat. It's kind of the feeling around them. So if you kind of end up in that group, and then obviously Netherlands and Sweden, you could have got an easier group for your money. But I think Japan will be better than that, because the team I'm about to come on to, Sweden, I'm not so sure on.
Before you get to Sweden, I do think it's probably as recognisable a Japan team as I can remember there being. I'm looking forward to seeing Tomiyasu play football again.
Will he play?
Someone that should have he's just been let go by Ajax. So someone that we should give a medal to. Really, him, Smith Rowe. They could have one over Zinchenko, I think, is who the team wanted to give it to. At the other end of the pitch, Zion Suzuki is someone that was linked with Man United about 3 years ago. He's at Parma now. He's kind of proven that he was what they thought he was going to be. And I think if the keepers they'd had been any better, they'd have waited and kind of gone for him in this window. But they went for Lamens because he was available at that time. So someone, when you look at Chelsea, are never far away from needing a goalkeeper.
We might.
Yeah, there's several teams that could be in the market there, so we'll see what happens there. And yeah, these were a really fun watch in the last World Cup. So
yeah, and I think they, in theory, should be better again. So yeah, exciting one. Let me come on to Graham Potter, Sweden, your boy.
Great manager.
Let's face it, he is, in terms of, from an English perspective, that will dominate the sort of headlines around Sweden coming in. Is going to be, it's just about obviously qualified, just about got it done. He's hoping to be on a redemption arc, he will obviously equally look at that group and go, that's tough going. I think the interesting thing, let's face it, is going to be how do you create a system that Isaac and Gyökeres can both thrive in if Isaac's fit? Toss a coin. That's probably going to be the thing to look out for, I would say, in terms of them. Same as star player. If Isaac can do what he did in that friendly game, which I had to beyond triple check, that wasn't AI, because I haven't seen him move like that all season. And he sprinted like that and then smashed it in the top bin. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My head's going to be on a different planet. If him and Wirtz have a good tournament, my head will be on a different planet. And I guess if Salah does as well, I mean, maybe it's just going to be a tough tournament. This interesting fact about them: there's a culture of only eating sweets on Saturdays. A thing called Lorda Godis. May have pronounced that wrong. Basically, they years ago, I think it was in the 50s, they established that Sweden were eating per capita more sweets and sugar than any other country, and we've got to get on top of this. And they basically successfully managed to create a system whereby kids would eat sweets on a Saturday. Now, the whole thing, they would look forward to it all week, and that was your day when you were designated Saturday, which... I mean, if I was a kid, I'd be fuming. But as an adult now, you go, probably good idea.
That's just the government enforcing a diet. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somehow feels we wouldn't be putting up with that shit. I don't think we'd be going, no. Just a Saturday? No.
People are still livid with Jamie Oliver 20 years after they left
me
school.
included.
Yeah.
And then they brought them back and they're not the same.
My TV, when I turn it on, defaults to a Jamie Oliver channel every single time I switch it on. And after
You've been infected.
Yeah, I'm stuck with
like when U2's album ended up on Spotify. He's been infected by Jamie Oliver.
Every single time I turn it on, it's he's there watching.
Whenever I think of Jamie Oliver, I always think of that tweet where the bloke just refers to him as a fat lispy twat. That's all I can think of.
We can get away with 2/3 of that. National dish, meatballs.
Gotta be.
There you go. Please, somebody tell me you've been to IKEA and had the meatballs. Please, someone post it online. I need to know.
I never have.
No. Well,
they are nice. They
give
just
it time.
Never been to
look
IKEA.
horrific. Like they do not look appealing. They're
No.
nice.
No, yeah.
They look like
that's very
they've
much
already
that food,
been eaten.
That food stuff is very though, isn't it? That
Yeah.
sort of any of that product always looks grim.
Yeah.
My mum, I guess, looking back, easy meal and one I look forward to when she did it would do us pasta and meatballs when we were younger, and it would be those tinned Frey
meatballs.
Bentos
Yeah.
meatballs, which I found out as an adult they're chicken meatballs.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, makes sense from the texture. That makes sense. To be
I
fair,
always thought they
They're
were like,
paler than me.
I
thought they were gourmet
with the
pure
sauce on
beef
top,
shin.
I always thought they were like pork or beef. Like years later, I kind of said to her, it was like a big, oh my god, they're chicken, and she kind of was like, what do you want me to say?
Yeah. And
I mean,
But I've not had them since I found out.
I'd hazard a guess you wouldn't want to look any further into the ingredients beyond,
Yeah,
beyond
chicken will
either.
do.
That's the best
just
part of
accept
the news.
chicken.
Yeah.
Don't look at any percentages there.
So, in terms of more sort of reading around Sweden since Potter's taken over, obviously, big part of the job, as we said, getting the two strikers into it. He's leaning more towards 3-4-1-2, playing with wing backs. Good luck playing wing back in this. Fair play to you lads. So the wing backs are Svensson and Gudmundsson. It's basically going to be, can they do their job? Is going to probably hinge on how well it goes for Sweden or not. Do you think that friendly loss just now to Norway is a bit of a red flag? I saw the highlights from it and it could have been worse than 3-1. So I do think with a tough group and a situation like it is, I think Sweden might get whacked. I think they might bottom the group.
Do you think they'll have to make a choice at a point between Gyökeres and Isak? Because I wouldn't have said this 2 weeks ago. It's no question who the better player is, but if you go by the goals per game record, and even if you just look at how they qualified, Gyökeres is the guy that has been dragging them.
For what it's worth, Isaac normally makes your decision for you. He's good like that. So I do, but that's one of those where what you're saying is right. It's common sense, but especially international level, how often do we see it where they try and shoehorn these players in because you don't necessarily have a huge talent pool either?
Yeah, I know you said Isak makes
you
a
end up getting
decision
neither.
for you. You also can't put Gyökeres on the wing.
So
you might make the decision in that sense as well, because you look in there's enough exciting players in there. I speak about Elanga far differently now than I did a year ago, for example, but we really like Lucas Bergvall.
I mean, he, for example, I feel like every time I come on here, I kind of try and say, well, someone should go for him. The Spurs fans probably fuming. But again, a big World Cup, and I think you're not just people like us talking about him on a podcast. I think wider public sort of go, yeah, someone go for him. He's only 20 or whatever.
I would say if there's anything we've learnt in this time, I think the voice at the front of Graham Potter's brain says, I want to play expansively. I want to have my technicians in there. The voice in the back of his head that slowly works its way to the front says, keep it tight. Don't let the other team score.
Don't do anything stupid.
So it might be that Bergvall doesn't play as many minutes as we would expect him to, because he might look to shore things up a bit and then bank on the guys at the top end of the pitch to fire him away, because you can do nothing for 89 minutes and Isak can have the ball 40 yards out and do something in the remaining couple. So
interesting thing with that is, would you probably treat Isak as more of an impact sub on that basis? They seem to have worked around trying to get them both on. I would have probably looked down the route of start with Gyökeres and then for the last 20-25, if it's tight, then bring on Isak, because he isn't going to do the full 90. Touch wood. So you're going to be hooking him, aren't you? So you may as well have him as an option.
He didn't have a pre-season last year, and now you don't want him having a pre-season this year at the World Cup.
Can't win, can I? Because then if he plays well, I'm not happy. If he doesn't play well, I'm not happy. What do I want?
What do I want?
I think when you look, and I think we could do this for a lot of teams in the group, you look and say Netherlands are far more technical than they are. You look at their squad, and that's a sneaky good squad as well when you go through it. Japan, you'd expect, are just going to run all over them, and it's just whether they can put up with that. And Tunisia, you've spoken a little bit about already. Yeah,
exactly. And just reading around that Tunisian team, where they basically said, look, teams have really struggled with breaking them down. I did just look at, I had in my mind's eye a bad Graham Potter team. I was like, that's not going to get it done.
It doesn't get a lot done about Graham Potter team, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I don't want to set you off here, and I also don't think we have time to do so much of that. I think he's unfairly having a lot of blame portioned on him for your relegation, and there was a lot of time after that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of time after that, and I'm not saying it's not Nuno's fault. It's the squad's fault, Nuno's fault, Potter's fault, owner's fault. Do you know what I mean? It's just been a horribly run, managed, performing club.
A look in his eye that I don't like.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
As soon as he said the owner, I was like,
I
Panorama tonight, leave it at that. Leave it at that.
Wait. I have somewhat made my peace with it now.
Okay.
We're in a fortunate
The Potter
position.
situation.
Yeah.
We're- just make sure we're all on our P's and Q's. I was just
The fact that we were only outside of the relegation zone for a combined 3 match weeks, I think.
Yeah.
You know, you can brace yourself for it. Frustrating that it got to where it did, but that's by the by. But I think it wasn't so. The performances weren't great, but you also look at what he did with the squad in removing.
I saw Antonio saying that he removed a lot of personality.
Don't care for that man who came on and said, "I'm fucking glad they got relegated."
But no West Ham fan was like, "Oh, I can't believe he's letting Emerson go. Or I can't believe he's letting Edson Alvarez go." And I can't like.
But it's the fact that you strip all of these players out of the club, and you're not bringing anyone in. Like,
thought maybe Bowen would step up as a leader more.
Yeah, just more goals than
I don't
Saka
know
and Madueke combined. But that's fine. It's fine. You know, can you tell me an English player with more goal contributions?
No, I'll look out for how many Premier League goals he gets next season. That was too nasty.
That's dark. I've made up my mind on something. Tell you.
Who's naming his voodoo doll after when he gets back. Okay, let's go to Group G, where we will give Conor the microphone. He's going to be talking about Iran and New Zealand, who will be competing with Belgium and Egypt in Group G.
So with Iran, start with Iran. Star player has got to be Mehdi Taremi. You know, European football. Did I recognise many other names on that list? Probably not. It's just whether he can get firing. They've never achieved a quarter. They've never achieved a quarter final, but they have qualified for 4 consecutive World Cups. So I think that they're in the group where third place will go into a playoff as well, I think. So, you know, they do potentially stand a chance in that group of not coming dead last.
There are 8 teams, and it's based on what they do in there.
Yeah.
In terms of an interesting fact about Iran.
Okay.
What?
Oh,
Sound nervous. Sound nervous, Luke. They produce 90% of the world's saffron. And also, a thumbs up means the same thing as a middle finger, apparently.
Dangerous.
So, no more welcoming them to the World Cup. I think I'll have to stop.
It's the biggest story in the last few days, and whether this holds, is that the American government is saying that they have to fly in and out on the same day of all of their match days.
But they're actually letting them in. So,
but that's
briefly.
Great. Like, I don't know, to be honest, how long the flight is from America.
Are all of their games in
Iran.
the United States?
I believe so.
Be tough.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've got like 9 different time zones as well, so they can be dotted across anywhere,
Yeah.
and they've got to come in and out. And are we assuming back to Iran, or would they just like base camp in
That's
Mexico,
a good point that I
or-
hadn't thought about. I was thinking they were going to
I mean, if they
back to
go
Iran
back to
every
Iran,
time?
yeah.
Well, you just stay in Canada, or well, I'm assuming they.
Someone like
they
Cuba will
go.
put you up.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
But that I don't know how long there is. No, Los Angeles, Seattle. So
all on the other side of America. Yeah, nice.
but if that holds, that's obviously.
They've only just said it as
compete.
well. I mean,
Yeah.
that's nuts as well, isn't it? Yeah.
That's insane.
After the whole thing, he was like, they're going to be let in, and now he's kind of saying, we let him in. What more do you want?
Oh, yeah. Thinking of your thing about when someone said they should put Italy in instead of Curacao, you knew how ridiculous that was when they put it to Trump. It's like, they said that? Not sure about that. When he's going, that's a step too far.
I haven't got a huge amount down for Iran, but the food, a chalao kebab, which, as simple as it seems, skewered meat served with saffron rice, seasoned can be lamb or chicken.
That's more like it.
Yeah.
Keep your cheese pies to yourself.
Oh, with a sprinkling of cheddar. Weird.
That's the English version. Which
Yeah,
throw
we've
some
adopted
cheddar on
it.
anything.
How much have you got to tell us about New Zealand?
Well, I can tell you about their star man, Chris Wood. You know, he's going to be their main threat up top. I've shot myself a foot in a little bit with the interesting fact, because I decided to copy down a place in New Zealand that is the world record for the longest place name found in any English-speaking country. It's 85 letters long, and I'm not going to attempt it. I thought about trying to practice it, but it's not going to happen. But it does.
That's the forfeit for the Bottom Draft League next year.
Yeah, and you've got to do it without a mistake. I have got the translation here to what it translates to roughly. It translates to the place where Tamatea, the man with the big knees, who slid, climbed and swallowed mountains, known as the Land Eater, played his nosed flute to his loved ones.
So that's
going
still
on
less
there.
characters.
And that's what it translates to. The locals simply call it Taumata Hill, is what they call it instead.
Okay.
It's a 305 metre hill, and it's situated on the south of Hawke's Bay in the North Island.
When
So-
the abbreviation of the location is still 2 words long.
Yeah, that's how you know it's a mouthful. I think we go out of the group stage, obviously. In what to look out for, I have just written Chris Wood's Big Fat Swede.
I thought we were going to get some Lord of the Rings trivia, so...
No, I mean, what you could see as soon as you fly into their airport, they've got the massive Gollum statue, which probably enough to frighten. And when I say statue, it's not upright, it's hanging down from the ceiling, so it's like it's right at the children. Really.
Is it a statue if it's hanging from the ceiling?
Yes, it's still.
Okay.
Is that not what defines a...
I don't know. That's why I was asking.
It's not
We've answered
chandelier,
enough
is it?
questions today. Yeah.
We need to
Well,
answer the
fair.
big questions.
And well, the biggest question of them all: food. It's roast lamb. Absolutely class. Simple. There's more sheep than there are people in New Zealand.
Yep.
So
Never been a big lamb guy.
you disgust me
No,
more and more
yeah,
every
yeah,
day.
I don't dislike it. Just
Okay. It's lovely.
Are you having it in the? You're ranking it last in the meats.
that and pork would be between those two.
Pork's last for me.
Never was when I found out we were having pork chops for dinner. Never happy about
It's
that.
tough.
Yeah. TK, have you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know all there is to know about Spain and Uruguay. What I don't know is about Saudi Arabia and Cape Verde.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this, isn't it?
Yeah. So, well, you try and do research about these ones, trying to go like, right, they're gonna spring an upset or whatever. Gonna put a spoiler off the top. Saudi aren't causing any upsets. 7 goals in 10 coming into it.
They've got nice kits.
It's not going to get it done. Don't even have a Yamana Rene Havard. I'm never quite sure how to say his name. The guy who's had more international jobs than like Goose Hiddink or any of them. An interesting fact about Saudi. Where do we go? Largest airport in the world. King Fahd International Airport is 300 square miles, which is roughly the size of New York City. And you know the mad thing, when reading this, there's an argument on everything. There was a little, in the comments section on one of these articles, it's just a bunch of Americans arguing, well, that's just a land area, that's not the actual airport, so actually we've still got the biggest, and people are just going
Ours
back and
is
forth.
bigger.
And they're making a point, actually Denver's much bigger, so... Hey, look, I'll let them fight out amongst themselves.
And you'd still want to leave boarding to the last second.
National dish, kabza, an aromatic one-pot meal with basmati rice, slow-cooked meat, and a rich blend of spices. Basically, food-wise, I should just move to the Middle East. They seem to have it cracked. In terms of something to look out for, I don't think they're going to spring upsets here. Everything reading around them is that they struggle to score goals. It's going to be a bit of an issue. They're still relying on Salam Al Dawazi, who's Asian Player of the Year, but who basically one of the only names that did jump out as someone who I did actually recognise.
Well, that might be we did do a Saudi Arabia podcast previously.
Right, okay. That makes me feel better because I did think I recognised the name. And but he's 35 and they're relying on him. Did do some reading around a young player they've got called Musab Al Jawar. Again, apologies for the pronunciation if it's not on. But he just won the Saudi Pro League most promising young player. Played under Brendan, so he's got to be a talent.
Of course.
And you do one of the things with obviously the investment in the Saudi Pro League, you assume at some point there is going to be talent coming through, because what is one of the things they have focused on is that the talent still does have to be coming through for the investment they put in. They still obviously got quotas as to the number of foreign players they can have. So whilst it might not be this tournament, I do wonder if a player like him or future ones will be probably jumping off the page a little bit more than they currently are. I know Saudi got the tournament in 2034. I know they have a big thing of 2030. It's a good job because I don't think they're going to do a whole lot in this one.
Well, are Cape Verde going to do a lot in this one?
Wow. I would like to think so. But, yeah. They're bang unlucky that Curacao are in this, because otherwise you'd be going, we are the plucky underdog feel-good story. And they've gone, no, we're better than you. Okay, great. Population of around 500,000, basically like Liverpool, which when you put it in that context of coming to a World Cup is nuts. Interesting fact, until the Portuguese arrived in the 1460s, the islands were totally uninhabited. Don't have anyone there. There you go. National dish is ketchup.
Yeah, tomato sauce, isn't it?
Don't know. I think there's a Q on the end of that. Couldn't be sure. Might have butchered it. A slow cooked stew made from hominy, beans, and various meats. To be fair, in terms of they're basically pinning their hopes on a player called Ryan Mendes, who once was on loan at Nottingham Forest. That is the height of... And no, he had a spell at Lille as well, in fairness. And I can't say his first name, but he's got Livramento up top. Reading the whole thing around... They are a great story, obviously. A tiny island. It's the third smallest to ever qualify. Obviously, Curacao, the smallest. But they're sort of... You read around and you go, yeah, we're quite hopeful around what we're doing. Okay, right. Livramento up top. Like, I look at it, he scored 1 goal all season. So, if that's who you're pinning your hopes to, good luck, gents.
I think Curacao is 125,000 people. Basically, what they do is they just find Dutch people and ask them if they want to play for...
And that's exactly it. Cape Verde have got a few of those. If when I was speaking about Haiti earlier, Isidore and Bellegarde, both French-born. I think I was reading that Isidore basically got hounded into agreeing to play for them online. He basically, on my Twitter, was like, "Why don't you play for Haiti? Just go on, go play for Haiti.
Do it."
So yeah, it's as you kind of touched on with Curacao, they're going to be a lot of fun in terms of whatever fan base they can muster in terms of that, and they're going to be a fun story. They're going to be. All the talk about them is that, again, they're going to try and be rigid, hard to beat, kind of know what they are, which on the one hand you go, that's exactly what you should be doing. The flip side is, is that going to be, they're going to be a tough watch? I don't know, but I think I'll probably get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch these lot. Yeah.
I was saying to Conor when I was reeling him in to do this episode, when we did the countries previously, there was an added, like we were looking up the price of Peru shirts before they played. They didn't deliver for us on the field, unfortunately, but it did have an added interest for some of these. So you might be getting up early to cheer on Iran.
Wouldn't get up early to cheer on England, so I doubt that.
Conor, we'll go back to you. Group I has France and Iraq in it. But you're going to tell us all about Norway and Senegal.
I'll start with Senegal, if I can, please. And their star player, none other than Al Hadji Malik Diouf. That's who we were all thinking, wasn't it?
Yeah,
had to be.
Yeah, I think he
lived up to my thoughts in the pre-season pod.
You did go heavy with him.
Yeah. Not as heavy as I went the season before, thankfully, but still not quite there in terms of double digits.
God, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
I knew you were high on him.
Series days, who knows? He'll be whipping balls left, right and centre anyway, which we know he will. But you look at the squad of Senegal, from top to bottom, you were talking about the USA having a good core. Throughout the whole squad with Senegal, you've got some really impressive players. Diouf, Mane, if you still want to say he's that threat. It is a wonder that they didn't win AFCON. I can't believe they didn't win.
It looked like they won.
Yeah, I really thought I saw it.
On top of the Nicholas Jackson.
Whipping balls into Jackson.
My guy, Iliman Ndiaye.
Yeah.
Ismail Assar.
So they have quality throughout there, really. And I have actually put that they've got the potential to get to the quarterfinals just because of their route. Whether they can go further than that, maybe not, but they have got the players to do it. Food, I've gone for tiboudien, which is a fish and rice dish, which is similar to jollof, but with fish instead of...
Nice.
Interesting fact is they actually have the tallest statue in Africa, which is the African Renaissance Monument. And it's 49 metres tall, which is taller than the Statue of Liberty. So they've beaten America there.
Don't tell them that before they turn up.
Yeah.
What about Norway?
And Norway. So star player is this. You might not have heard of him. He's this young up and coming striker.
Striker.
He's 10, doesn't he?
Erling Haaland.
Okay.
We're not going to talk about the guy who can't start for his club. Have you heard of Sir Nils Olav?
No.
You haven't? Let me tell you about Sir Nils Olav. He's a military colonel with the rank of brigadier, and he was knighted in 2008. He lives at Edinburgh Zoo. He's a penguin who is an official member of Norway's military. Which I found really interesting.
Don't think he'll be too good in these conditions.
No, not so much.
They have to salute him.
They do. They have the whole ceremonies and everything. Yeah, it's insane to see, actually. I got a couple of options for food, really. Furikal is like a lamb or mutton cabbage stew, which is quite a traditional Norwegian food. Not one I'd choose. You touched on Japan and didn't go down the route of sushi earlier. Salmon in sushi was introduced by a Norwegian.
There you go. So
your nigiri is Norwegian rather than Japanese. And they have Fredags taco, which is Taco Friday. In Norway, it's become accustomed to have tacos on a Friday. Like you would a roast on a Sunday, they got rid of that.
Fantastic.
And it's the most widespread dinner tradition across the country.
When LeBron was in his Taco Tuesday, they were shaking their head like, it's Friday, man.
Got your days muddled up.
What's he like?
What to look out for? It's a difficult one, really. They've always had, the occasional player with talent, but not qualifying for tournaments has been their big issue. They haven't qualified since '98, and this will only be their fourth ever campaign. Haaland wasn't even alive the last time they qualified, but they've got the quality. It's just interesting to see if they'll be able to make something of it. I think it's unfortunate in the group that they're in, because realistically, they're not gonna finish ahead of France, and I don't think they're going to finish ahead of Senegal either. So they are in an unfortunate position with the group that they've drawn. But again, it'd just be nice to see a different team in a tournament.
Part of the issue during the last qualifying campaigns for the World Cup and the Euros, not to make this an Arsenal thing again, is Haaland kept pulling out of the squads when, for them, every single game was clearly very important. And so we had this thing where Odegaard was playing through injury because he's the captain for them and he was going and playing. And then once Haaland started playing again, Odegaard got injured and he was out. And so they rarely had their two, talismanic figures there at the same time. I do think if you're looking for a squad where someone could get a move out of this tournament, Andreas Schelderup was supposed to be this huge thing. He's playing at Benfica now. Antonio Nusa is linked to Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle really, really strongly. And his highlight reel ranges from anything from Mo Salah to Elanga, where it can just be these insane technical moments, but it also can just look like, I've just got pace, let me just smash it down the wing and see what happens. And I think they've got enough quality in there. I agree with you. They're going to have a lot of trouble, but I don't know. You're looking even just like Alexander Soloth is due to sign for Juventus, I believe, once they get rid of Vlahovic. They've got a decent amount. Strand Larsen is like their third striker. So
to contrast what I said earlier, a bit top heavy in some ways in terms of they probably wish they could kind of space the talent out a little bit. It's interesting with them, isn't it? Is that we've had a few summers now where we've gone, oh my God, as if they're not, Norway aren't in it with no Odegaard and no Haaland at the World Cup. Haaland in particular seems odd, kind of not having one of the biggest names in the sport really there. The anticipation there must be nuts because again, it's kind of like with Scotland, however long they've been since they last qualified. Probably could have done a better group.
This is where your reputation can go up and down because we would judge someone like Lewandowski rightly or wrongly when Poland were being eliminated from tournaments just because we weren't seeing him do enough actions single-handedly in a game. And I do think one of the big criticisms of someone like Haaland has been that he's not involved enough in a game when his team's not doing well. But I also think that can transfer. And despite being the captain, people might look at Odegaard and say, you've got the most ruthless striker in the world up front, and you're not doing enough to find him. So I do think there could be a lot of blame being placed at the feet of both of those if they don't qualify.
Yeah, agreed.
Are we moving on?
Yep.
Okay, let me take back over, and we're going to be on Group J. So I'll talk about Austria to kick us off, one of the pastry kings of the world, the originators of the croissant, which I didn't know before this weekend. I tried searching through their foods and everything just looked so indulgent. They love apricot jam. They fill their donuts over there with apricot jam, not with raspberry jam, not with custard. Sachetot, which all of these are going to be pronounced wrong, is this double-decker chocolate sponge cake with apricot jam in the middle of it. The Apfelstrudel looks incredible, especially with that powdered sugar on top. Cremesschnitzer, which is cream slices. And what I thought would be the big finale here, one of my favourites, Viennese whirls, aren't even from Vienna, it turns out. So,
my whole life's a lie.
They're off the list. We were given so much information about Ralf Rangnick when he joined United that I feel like we all know how they're going to play at this point. The interesting thing will be whether they can sustain that, particularly with the turnaround for games, with a squad that at the very least has an ageing spine. You're asking David Alaba at 33, Marcel Sabitzer at 32, and Marko Arnautovic, Conor's boy, and 37 years old, to play every 3 days, to press like demons. You have Conrad Lima and Seivald and the others trying to compensate, but you would imagine this is going to be tough as they go on. I do think if you were looking for an upset, maybe, if they were to lay down a marker and you're thinking ahead of time that the winner of the match between them and Algeria will qualify, they've got Argentina second, where they shouldn't be too blown out by that point. That's an aging squad that Argentina have. That's a squad that isn't blessed with pace or intensity, and the players that do have that are probably going to be benched in support of Messi or someone like that. So maybe they can do something in there, and if they don't get a World Cup run, maybe they have a World Cup moment, which I do think, where as time goes by, is actually as valuable when you do some reflecting. I tried desperately to find something weird or funny to find about Austria that I could tell you. Doesn't seem to exist, which I guess is what you want if that is your country. They turned some Christian monasteries into pubs, which look cool. That's about as much as I could get there. But
Spoons have done the same thing, I think.
but not much more than that. So I would say tune in. That's maybe that's my pivot, is if you tune in, you might find something more interesting to find about them.
Well, by all accounts, Rangnick's done a good job since he's been, hasn't he? If you look at the results, and he's obviously on a bit of a reputation rebuild post-United, although because they've struggled afterwards, he seems to have helped him as well.
They're saying that with the injuries they have in midfield, it might work in their favour, that they have to play a more workmanlike system there. And then they kind of looked and said, if you go through the systems and the way he's played previously, there isn't always the room for a creator or a technician or a facilitator in there. And so they're just going to be relying on Arnautovic to have some end product, basically.
Has Alaba played this year? Has he had any game time?
Alaba?
Yeah.
Every time I've seen his name, it's because he's having surgery of some kind.
That's it. I know he had a big injury.
You want to talk about Trigger's room? David Alaba is completely restructured.
Elsewhere in the same group, I had no idea the size of Jordan. I thought they were one of the smallest countries at the tournament. Little did I know they have a bigger population than Norway. They're seventh bottom, I think, if you go by
Norway's
land
quite
area.
smaller.
Yeah. The coolest thing I found about Jordan, and I don't know how offensive this would be to their many residents that would listen to the podcast. The Wadi Rum Desert is said to be the closest thing that you will find to Mars on this planet. So the sand is like a reddish colour there. The rocks are packed full of iron, and so they have a certain look to them. This is where they filmed The Martian. This is where they filmed Prometheus. This is where they filmed Rogue One. And the Arrakis scenes for Dune 1 and 2 were all filmed in this desert because of how it looks. I had a joke, but I can't.
Certainly can.
I've laughed now, so it doesn't really work. Yeah, I was going to say the country got its official name when the King watched I'm a Celebrity in 2004, but it doesn't work now.
You shouldn't have.
Now I've laughed.
I can't believe you've laughed.
I know. for building up to that all day as well. I even snuck it in the middle of my facts, so it would hit better.
That's never going to hit good anywhere.
It would. I could have heard the like. For God's like. But we'll move on. Mansaf would be considered the national dish, and almost every dish you see here has bread almost as a utensil, as much part of the meal, but pretty similar to a lot of the ones we've had here. It's lamb cooked slowly until it's tender, rice, this flatbread, and then a sauce called jamid, which is fermented and dried sheep's or goat's milk yogurt, which is said to be a very acquired taste. But if you can eat around that, maybe
that would be like a sour cream. Then no,
I don't know. It's said to be a very acquired taste.
Jordan, quite protective of it.
Jordan have one solitary player playing in Europe's top 5 leagues, so naturally they refer to him as the Jordanian Messi. That's Captain Moussa Tamari, who plays in midfield for Rennes. He averages 1 in 3 while playing for his country. They basically need to beat Algeria in the second game and try not to concede loads of goals in the others. By design, they allow the opposition to have the ball and then they bank on being faster and stronger in attack. That obviously works to a degree in qualifying as they're playing teams of a similar level. But you'd say allowing Messi and Alvarez to have more and more and more of the ball would be a recipe for disaster in the end. So we'll see how that plays out for them. They are built to beat teams better than them. They're just not typically playing teams this much better than them. So I read a lot of interviews from the manager, Jamal Salami, over the weekend, and they seem to be talking more kind of with what I've just said about one great performance over qualification, or winning the whole thing like Dewey Finn in School of Rock. I've mentioned Messi. Something to keep an eye on would be Yazan Al-Arab, who plays right centre-back for them in a back 3, and he plays for FC Seoul at club level. He's a massive threat on set pieces, but if you've seen his name previously, it would be that he's very, very aggressive, and that can spill over sometimes. He's banned from playing football and coaching and having any job across the entirety of Malaysia because he lashed out at a referee, shoved him, swore at him, kicked him, and then spat on him. So we could do with him in the Premier League.
Put him up against Gabriel. I love that.
If you take Transfermarkt information with any kind of seriousness, they're said to have the least valuable squad in the entire tournament.
Oh, wow.
Their top scorer, who had 14 goals in qualifying, Yazan Al-Namat, tore his ACL pre-tournament. So you're thinking any help you can get, they're not getting much of it. I will continue into Group K, and I'll tell you about Colombia and then Uzbekistan. If we start with Colombia, I feel like most facts that come up when you search Colombia are Pablo Escobar related, so I'll save a few of those. But coffee and cocaine are their 2 greatest exports. Aside from those, petroleum, parrots, gold, emeralds, and bananas would be at top of the list. Shakira's hips too. She was born over there. They only exported her once, obviously. I was reading up about La Catedral, the prison that was built to the exact specifications that Escobar requested before he was locked up. And with a football pitch, bar, and entertainment areas, it does basically just sound like something out of MTV Cribs. Although I don't know how much magic is taking place over there.
In the series, in Narcos, he goes, but ultimately prison was still prison. I was like, I think that was all right.
Yeah.
I think I'd have been okay, actually.
Yeah. To keep up with my Instagram theme from before, they have a rainbow river that looks unbelievable if you want to Google that. Tejo is the national sport of Colombia. You throw heavy metal discs into clay pits that are covered in gunpowder landmines, all while downing copious amounts of beer. It's like a game of exploding horseshoes, basically. And so for that to be your national sport,
it's unreal.
What did you say it was called?
Tejo, Tejo.
From now on, I want... And it's not heavy metal football anymore, it's Tejo football. I want Tejo football. If we're not playing that, I don't want to know.
Colombia has 30 plus different kinds of exotic fruits, over 9,100 species that can only be found in Colombia, from the cotton-top tamarind to the Amazonian river dolphins there. There's just so many animals that don't exist outside of their borders. They are fourth in cosmetic enhancements in the world, so you'll see some shape wherever you're going if you want to move over there. Everything I read was asking for English speakers to go over and teach there, so if I start looking for a new job, maybe that can be there on the list. I'll play Tejo, and I haven't got to the food yet, I don't, so maybe we'll see how that goes.
They don't have much of an appetite over there.
El Dorado, the mythical city of golds and riches, was based on a group of indigenous people in Colombia. From the culinary side, something we covered previously, TK, they love cheese in their hot chocolate. They put a little ball of this salty cheese in and let it melt to the bottom. Said to be very nice. A full Colombian breakfast, and you can tell me if you think this beats the full English, consists of ground beef, chicharrones, which is deep-fried pork belly, avocado, rice, beans, plantain, fried egg, and arepa, which is South American flatbread, and chorizo. So, might not beat the full English, but it doesn't sound bad.
No bacon, it loses.
You got chorizo,
which is a sausage.
Some provocative flavour in there, isn't
it's
there?
It's salty and pork.
I'll allow it. No, it sounds delightful, don't get me wrong. Lost me at the avocado, there's a slight bit of health on there, do you know what I mean?
They also eat hormigas colonis, which roughly translates to big butt ants, according to Copilot.
So even the ants are having cosmetic surgery. Ants getting BBLs, can't believe it.
They're said to be crunchy and nutty in flavour. Some say like popcorn, and it's a bit of a gourmet snack, to be honest. They're up against Portugal, Uzbekistan and DR Congo. Quarterfinals are the aim. They should definitely finish top two in the group. Only Argentina scored more goals than them in qualifying. Luis Diaz bags them. James Rodriguez sets them up. That's basically how they work. Rodriguez is in the MLS these days, but he's only played 8 times this year. His manager says he runs less and thinks more these days, and so will be surrounded by grafters.
You're picking up the slack for him, lads. Good luck.
Luis Suarez plays up front for them. Not that one. And he's bagged 28 goals this year after replacing Gyökeres at Sporting. He was heavily linked to Liverpool in January, although I've not seen much about that as time has gone on. But there'll be eyes on him at the very least. You'll recognise Jefferson Lerma from Palace, John Arias, he was at Wolves previously, he's at Palmeiras now. Daniel Munoz from Palace, Davinson Sanchez, which isn't great. So he's a centre-back in front of a 37-year-old goalkeeper who is not a popular pick in Colombia, but the manager basically says we have nobody better, and they just have to hope that they score enough and they're resolute enough in front of the keeper to stop the shots coming in.
It was David Moyes' tactic before he went stale.
They should get through the group, but the last 16 will be tough. They played 2 friendlies in March where they were sliced through with ease. It's one thing against France, but Croatia did it to them as well, which was a bit of a red flag. Something to watch out for would be they're playing 2 games in Mexico and 1 in Miami. If you do have an unfit 35-year-old as your most important player, 2 games at high altitude and 1 in the hottest city in the tournament won't be ideal. They say, I think it's at the Azteca, going up the stairs at the airport can give you altitude sickness. It's that bad. So the players, they're going to have to acclimatise, and you can't really do that in a couple of weeks. So
thank God Iran aren't playing there. Can you imagine that?
And then the last team from me for today is Uzbekistan. So we're getting close to Curacao levels if I'm ranking my level of knowledge I have for any particular country. My sole knowledge here is that Kusanov plays for them, and that's it. And that it's not Kazakhstan.
And the Cannavaro is manager.
Yes, that was one of my key facts. He's just wiped out. There wasn't much more I had to say.
You've got such little to choose from.
I've learned that different regions are very competitive about the fruit that they grow. So nothing is more competitive than who has the biggest melons in Uzbekistan.
Same as Colombia as well, actually.
It's a very passionate point of debate. Traditional Uzbek bread is treated with huge respect and has more rules than some board games. Don't put the loaf upside down. Don't place it on the ground. Do not throw it away casually. And there's all these different things that are packed into that. Large Uzbek weddings involve hundreds and hundreds of guests. They joke over there that if you're not sure whether you're invited, just follow the music and someone will probably feed you.
Nice.
Outside of the ceremony, then karaoke is one of the biggest parts of the day, and people will take this incredibly seriously.
I just love karaoke.
So you're working on that leading up to the wedding, ready to go big.
Sounds like my kind of place,
They have two, I'll say, landmarks, because I can't think of a better word. One is called the Ship Graveyard, near the former shoreline of the Aral Sea. It's basically rusting fishing boats sat in the middle of a desert. I think the very short story is that this was once a fishing port town on the sea, and then 60 years ago, two rivers were draining in there and they kept the fish biting. The country shifted its attention to cotton growing, so the rivers were diverted for irrigation and the sea just died and left all these boats behind. And the government collectively encouraged people to move away and then just said, we'll leave that and we don't really care about it anymore. So you can drive down there, you can drive over where the sea was, and you can just explore all these old boats that are just left there in the sand. Some of them partially covered, some of them not. The other impressive thing I saw was this giant solar furnace that was built in 1981. It's essentially thousands and thousands of mirrors angled to create this incredibly intense beam of sunlight, as a solar furnace does. But if you see how this looks, it's like something a supervillain would use in a film and just try and wipe out an entire city.
It is the Death Star.
It looks crazy. The cuisine looks pretty palatable for us, nothing too mental like I referenced earlier. Plov is the national dish. Could have come up with a better
Cracking name,
Yeah.
that.
It's rice cooked with lamb or beef, carrots, onions, garlic, sometimes chickpeas and raisins, pretty standard. Manti is dumplings filled with meat, onions and pumpkin. Shashlik is chunks of meat grilled on skewers over charcoal. And then kazi is a horse sausage, not like that. Probably tastes similar to what you used to find in a Tesco lasagna, I imagine. And when I worked at the co-op and someone was buying them and saying, there's no horse in this, is there? Like I knew what the factory
Get the
did to
radar
build it
out.
up.
Let me, mate, just have a look on the back.
I remember him then insisting, it wouldn't bother me. I just want to know.
That's terrifying.
What an odd phrase.
Kurjuk is fat from a sheep's tail, which I've heard is a delicacy. I can't vouch for that.
It's going to be the most grisly thing.
In terms of football, I don't know how you feel, TK, but Kasanov being the guy that's supposed to lead you with his top-level experience would worry me if I was based over there.
Can be a rash team on that basis.
If you didn't know, Fabio Cannavaro is the man in charge. The Uzbek FA say he was brought in because a defensive playing style brings results.
He's won a World Cup.
Now,
ultimately, he'll win it with us.
Yeah.
According to him, which isn't ideal, this is a team devoid of athleticism. They're compact, they shift it to the flanks, and they try and bomb up as high as they can to make something happen. They don't bother trying to play out from the back. He says he doesn't have the players to do it. There's no point.
Not messing about.
Eldor Shomarudov is the man up top. He's got 20 and 32 for Istanbul Başakşehir. Abasek Fazalayev plays on the right. He's been compared to Kvaratskhelia, so we'll see if he can excite
That's
in their,
quite the comparison.
in their 3 a.m. tie against Colombia next Thursday. So there's a reason to get up.
If they're lacking athleticism,
Yeah.
must be a nightmare of training. Imagine trying to keep up with him. Fuck me.
Getting out of the groups would obviously be a huge accomplishment. The best athletes in this country fight rather than play football.
Probably fight bears as well.
They'll be looking at Congo and hoping they can sneak by in third place. I think 6 years ago they put a 10-year plan in place for 2030, so it's definitely 6 years ago, where they invested all this money into football and just all these sports that were undeveloped, and they looked at the Winter Olympics where they just came 13th, and they say this is evidence that things are starting to work. They won Asian Cups at under 17 and under 20s level recently, and they beat England to reach the under 17 World Cup quarterfinals in 2023. So they think they're making good pace. This isn't their tournament, but they hope they're going to at least show something that Uzbek footballers should be taken seriously. They should be picked up and brought across. And
Well, one of the very few things to know about it is it's one of those like wealthy countries that people don't necessarily think of, and it's got a randomly it's not randomly, but a really young population, like same as like Saudi. I think it's like 60 or 70% of like they're under 25, whatever. And so I do know that again, it's another country that's investing for 2030 or whatever in mind.
Similar to what you said about Sweden, they basically said there's no reason we shouldn't be the fittest, healthiest country when you look at what they eat and how they eat. And so they're basically just looking to breed athletes moving forward, and they think that'll bring wealth and everything that moves forward from there. Uzbekistan is the first double landlocked country to qualify for the World Cup. So there's a bit of trivia for you. And I thought, if I was thinking for something to look out for with them, particularly when I look at the group, so much of the narrative around Portugal is going to be, are they better with Ronaldo? Are they not? Or with or without Ronaldo? And I'm thinking, he's not doing the level of research that we've done before this podcast.
He doesn't know how they like their bread loaves.
Well, I'm thinking, if he's looking at that group, he will see Congo and he'll see Uzbekistan at the very least. And he'll be thinking that he should be putting up some goals against them. And I do think if they can stay compact, if they can be resolute, then maybe this could be huge in Portugal's campaign, even if it's not huge in Uzbekistan's. If they can frustrate him and they start to see that maybe they should do something a bit differently, then it could be that that's their biggest contribution to this tournament. Or they could upset one of these teams and that could be the story to take away from it. So that's what I've got to tell you about Uzbekistan. There's one group left, Group L. Conor, take us home. What can you tell us about both Ghana and Panama?
Not a huge amount about Panama, if I'm completely honest with you. Their star player, I've gone with Carrasquilla, mainly because he made was the first ever Panamanian to be named the CONCACAF Player of the Year in 2014. That is, by the way. So he's been around a bit. Panama is the largest predator that they have. Is a jaguar. And they are all over the shop.
Cool animal.
Very cool animal. They obviously the Panama Canal, massive feat of engineering, very, very impressive. And the name Panama translates loosely to abundance of fishes.
Okay.
So that's where that comes from. Food, sancocho, which is a hearty chicken soup, which I think is something that we can get behind. It's nice to see a national dish that isn't some form of meat with rice as well.
I was randomly craving chicken noodle soup yesterday, which was what you said about the meatballs I mentioned earlier. I used to have that before football, and I was doing my shop, and I don't know why I look at the reviews, because people only write bad reviews.
That's what reviews are for, isn't it? Is to slate things.
And someone pointed out that they quote 2% chicken in this chicken noodle soup on the back of the tin.
Yeah, but
I remember it being so nice when I would have it before I played.
But that's because it's stock, isn't it? So you're just taking bits out of the chicken for chicken noodle soup.
Whereas
if you look at a Richmond sausage that's like sub 50% pork, sort of thing.
I really liked cream of chicken soup until I thought about it one day and something changed, like whether it was the smell or something. I don't know what it was. I've not been able to have that. And then we moved on. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's
Panama.
That's quite all right. They debuted at the World Cup in 2018.
Slapped them.
So it's nice to see them back again, especially in that group. But hopefully the fans will bring some exciting vibes. They know they're not there to win it. They know they're not there really to get out of the group stages. So hopefully they'll just be excited to be there and bring the energy.
That was the game Lingard scored in, wasn't it? He was doing the J-Lings.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you see he's got J-Lings on the back of his shirt now in Brazil?
Do you know where that would go down really well? The Championship.
Bring him back.
Run it back.
Bring him back. I mean, the divorce didn't go well for either of you, really, did it? No. Ultimately, neither of you have fared brilliantly.
It did briefly for us.
Yeah.
Very briefly.
Did he score the winner in the FA Cup final before or after being at West Ham? Because if it was after, then fair enough.
Before.
Okay. There we
go. Sure?
Yeah.
Ghana. Quite a few players to choose from at Ghana, actually. Not Mohamed Kudus. So, just saying. Semenyo I've gone for as my star player.
Okay.
Seems a fair pick.
Yeah. I think he, from what he's shown in the Prem, he's definitely going to be the one to watch. I say one to watch as if he's going to be some hidden talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Star.
The one that you literally want to watch because you know what to expect. Food, fufu and jollof rice. Again, meat and rice taking the top spot for a national dish. They're the only nation that's had a player. No, I won't go there. Actually, I won't talk about that player. What to look out for?
I was about to compliment you as soon as we finished.
Yeah.
And you went there, so how far they go? I think it'll be a tricky one in the group as well, because you mentioned, I can't remember who it was that lost to Croatia just a moment ago.
That was Joel.
Yeah, I think
It's not bad when you're calling me on my own information.
The Colombia against.
It was Colombia.
Sliced open by
It was Colombia.
Croatia.
I convinced myself they were so good that I was like, that can't be right.
Yeah, but I mean, Croatia are far from a bad side as well. That's why we haven't really talked about them at all. They do stand a chance. So I think it could be out in the group for Ghana potentially. Which would be somewhat of a shock for a team that is known to do quite well usually at tournament level. Semenyo just naturally going to be the biggest threat.
They'll come into that thinking that, like we seem to for the last however many tournaments, that Croatia are old, based on the fact that Luka Modric is still going and is ancient. And so I'm sure they'll think, well, we can get the run on them, and Panama should be the whipping boys, fairly or unfairly. It'd be interesting. If you are one of those teams, you probably do feel a bit shortchanged, and you look at some of the groups and think, I probably could have got an easier group than this. It sounds quite arrogant as saying this because England are in the group, doesn't it? But obviously we should top the group.
We should top that.
But
I think they can pull off like a worldie, or Croatia do let it slip, then
I think they're more interesting games than I would expect given a 48 team tournament for us.
Yeah, agreed. When you look at what the group potentially could have been for us, I think it's hard for us as well. We could have had an easier run of it than we've had. And like you said, when we knew the tournament was being expanded, I did think there could be some dross groups in that. Actually, when you look at it, it's not really too bad. If you took out the nonsense of the third place teams that get through, if you actually took that out, it's perfectly compared to tournament actually.
And that was the purpose of this podcast. Do you have anything more to say on?
Just that they are the second largest producer of cocoa beans and Africa's second largest producer of gold as well.
Okay. Well, hopefully here we've given you some more reasons to stay up and watch some more of this World Cup, even if it's on at a time that isn't the most convenient for you. If you're thinking we've missed some teams out and you've missed the entire start of this podcast, I think there's going to be plenty of time throughout this tournament to speak about France and England and Spain and Germany and so on and so on and so on. So, yeah, we don't know entirely what we're going to do for the rest of the tournament yet, but at least next week there's going to be 5, 6, 7 games that have been played, and we'll have some more time to talk about the teams at the top of the tree. So thank you for listening to another edition of the Spitballing Pod. We will see you next week, but until then, adios.